occasion. This afternoon we are joined by Ericah, who is the Senior Tax Manager from Deloitte, Namibia. Now later on we'll also be joined by my producer Johnny Konja, who will be having a pep talk with Minister Shafudah ahead of the maiden midterm review budget. But before we get into any of that, I want to take this opportunity, that is to welcome Ericah. Ericah, good afternoon, and thank you so much for making time to join us this afternoon.
Oh, good afternoon, and thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Before we get even to any formal discussions, what are you anticipating?
Well, I'm actually anticipating that there is probably going to be under expenditure, given that this is a new administration, and most of the cabinet members are also new to public sector in terms of being a ministry and so forth. And certain ministries were also merged with the new administration. So I would imagine that they needed time just to get some administration in order, and also with the implementations of the current plans that are expected for the next 5 years, they needed time to set up certain projects for them to take off. So I would expect that there will be under expenditure because it's been only 6 to 7 months. So I don't think it's enough time for them to have spent or implemented a lot, but I would imagine that they're tracking in the right direction.
Well, thank you so much for that. What we can anticipate possibly from the point of view of a tax expert will also be digesting those numbers. We anticipate hopefully that the Minister of Finance will also be talking to us whether or not we can anticipate revised collection targets that were set for the year. Now we know that the tax collections are done by the Namibia Revenue Agency, in short known as NAMRA. These collections that are done eventually are the ones that end up financing government or state priorities. So very, very important as of to why you are always reminded to ensure that you pay your tax. Your tax is what makes this broadcast even possible because it funds the NBC. We also have our producer here on set, that is Johnny Konja, who is also on standby to possibly also show us as members of parliament and the media and possibly those that might be interested in attending the tabling of the mid-review budget, which is set to be tabled by the Minister of Finance, Ericah Shafudah. John, good afternoon, and how is it looking there?
A very good afternoon. It's a very, very special day today. We are outside at the Parliament Gardens, not exactly outside, but just at the entrance, where we are, of course, anticipating the arrival of Minister of Finance, Ericah Shafudah, who will be making her entrance soon. We just got it under good authority that she will be making her arrival soon, and we are hoping that we can have a word with her, of course, as far as the developments of the planning of the budget review, as well as also just hopefully to hear from her how the country has performed, the country's economy's performance ever since March the 27th when she tabled the budget, and what exactly are some of the adjustments that we hope to see from her budget review that we are anticipating today. So we are hoping for her to arrive anytime soon. Now we have seen some representatives from the Ministry of Finance. We also have seen arrivals of some members of Parliament already, so we are moving well within time to hear from her, and also hope to hear most about what exactly are going to be how important the significance of this review is. So we are anticipating the review that will assess the country's economic performance so far and propose amendments to the Appropriation Act of 2025 to increase or decrease specific allocations in the schedule to meet the state's financial requirements for the remainder of the 2025-2026 financial year. So in any moment when the minister arrives, I will be bringing you that conversation, and she will be hopefully be able to give us those information and tell us what exactly has been the performance thus far. But for now, it's back to you as we wait for the Minister of Finance. Back to you, Lot.
Thank you so much, Johnny Konja, as we anticipate the arrival of the Minister of Finance, Ericah Shafudah, to budget. Now, maybe while we are waiting for the minister, let's just talk about some statistics that we saw being reported over the media recently, as far as being told that minister was speaking in Parliament, and she was quite not happy with an implementation of the budget, implementation of the capital development projects by government. An update from May indicated that less than 30% of the 9.7 billion capital budget has been spent by the end of September 2025. Does this go back to what you were saying, that cabinet is relatively new, ministry has been emerged, but some Namibians might be saying, you are new, some of you have been in the system, why delay the spending?
I think, when you plant a seed, you don't harvest the same day, right? You give it time. You plant the seed, it germinates, you water it, and eventually it starts producing some fruits for you to harvest. So like you said, it's new cabinet. So yes, the administrations in terms of some of the, remember there were directors that were shuffled. So ministers were shuffled, new ministers came into play, and then ministries were merged as well. So with a new minister comes with a new direction as well, and new priorities as well. So I would imagine that most of the new ministers come and evaluate the project and how far they're going, and they might even have changed the strategy to actually attain this project as well. So like I said, I actually expected there to be an underspending because of some of those reasons. So I do think it will pick up. I think it will pick up eventually. I think give it time, give the new cabinet a chance for them to actually do their jobs. I mean, we just have to be patient. And as from social media and from the news, you can see that there is a lot of tractions in a lot of projects, that some of them are trying to be revived, some of them are trying to be set up and start this new project. So I think the traction is there. It's just a matter of time. So hopefully next day it will be better.
I am glad you mentioned that, she had indicated that also the implementation of the development budget expenditure since 21st of March was quite low.
Yeah.
But however, she perhaps, maybe to her credit, she also indicated the budget is targeted at implementing 960 developmental projects, of which 409 are ongoing, while 551 are new, in the sense that some of the ongoing projects have been unpacked, so which means they probably have been stopped and now they are being reactivated. I mean, to look at it in the context of a 960 developmental projects, these are not small numbers.
No, it is a huge number. But like I said, if you have been following the news, you have seen that the Prime Minister have been going through the different the different regions, visiting different projects. Even the President herself, she visited a lot of projects, especially the agricultural projects, some of them to revive them and to also understand what challenges they are facing, for them to try and solve these challenges. Because if you do not understand challenges, it's a bit hard for you to reevaluate and see what do we need to do better, versus just plowing in money that might not necessarily harvest anything. So you need to monitor and evaluate and see what is going wrong, what can we do differently, do we need to change our plan, our action plan. So this is what I'm saying. We are heading into the right direction. Might be slow at the beginning, but eventually I do believe it will pick up.
So you're literally saying that, when an engine starts first, starts to warm up before it eventually picks up.
It's a new car.
It's a new car. It just doesn't jump at 120.
Yes, you're trying to figure it out.
You're trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Now, we know some of the things that we have picked up is that from a speech on the 27th of March when she tabled the budget for the year, there will certainly, just a reminder for our viewers that might be watching now, is that budget statement for the 2025-2026 financial year was tabled under Beyond 35 for a prosperous future by the Minister of Finance. Now we know that the development budget in this current budget is equivalent to 4.6% in the 2025-2026 financial year. This is seen as a slight increase from the 3.1% for the 2023-2024%. In terms of being, statistics, what do you think perhaps necessitated the jump from the 3.1% to 4.6%?
Remember, for the past few years, we were recovering from COVID, right? And then beyond that, we were also recovering from a very underperforming economy. So for it to revive, you gradually increase slowly by slowly, and you increase your spending. So the economy is turning around in terms for Namibia. It has been improving from the previous administration. So it necessitates that you are able to actually increase the money that you allocate to development budget. For instance, investing in infrastructure, roads. And if you look around Namibia, there's a lot of roads that are going on. There's a lot of investment into development projects, especially agriculture and others. So at some point, you need to get back to the horse, and you need to stimulate economic growth. So this is where we are now. Yeah.
Now, talking about economic growth, will we possibly, I'm looking at specifically when you look at the economy such as that of Botswana, maybe perhaps diverting a bit from this maiden midterm review that we are set to receive, is that their economy is not so diversified as compared to Namibia. There's a little bit of diversification in Namibia's economy. Has that really perhaps maybe been a helpful factor to Namibia as trying to revive its economy and growing, especially after COVID?
Yeah, I think it is. And like you said, not diversified. I think Namibia's economy is one of the economies that is actually very diversified. As you remember, we do get a lot of collections from tourism. We have agriculture, we have mining, and now with the emerging industries such as oil and gas and renewable energy as well, I think that is also expected to diversify our economy a bit more than we are at currently. So, yeah.
Now, we do know that in terms of the budget for the year, 3.2 billion is allocated for developmental for developmental projects. Obviously, this 3.2 billion includes some of this funding that is coming from external loans and goods, and grants that are outside the state revenue. The minister has spoken about it. Talk to us about the significance of especially funding for the developmental project, and especially what does it mean when we talk about that, funding from external loans and also from grants?
So, from external loans, that means we did go and take a loan from maybe development banks or the World Bank. So, we take this loan, and then this loan, we use it for our development projects. But then at the same time, we have to finance it, right? It accumulates interest, and you have to pay back those interests. So, I think we just need to be careful in terms of the loans that we take and the and the interest terms as well, and especially if it's volatile in terms of currency fluctuations. So, of course, that's one of the things that we need to consider. But in terms of development projects, for an economy, for it to be stimulated, you need to continuously invest into your infrastructure, because that stimulates economic growth, but it also attracts investors into your country. If you have good roads, investors can come and invest, set up manufacturing plants in one town to another, because they know they're able to transport that without any problems. If you see that investments that was put in Namport, now we are able to actually, now even more countries are able to actually import through Namibia, especially countries that are landlocked. But you need to have good roads, so you need to invest in that, because at the end of the day, that generates income for the country as well. So you can never shy from development spending, because that is how you kind of also stimulate your economy.
So government, in a nutshell, government expenditure will lead to economic activities.
Yeah.
So government must first spend in order to see some of the economic activities taking place.
You need to set up services. For instance, if a town is growing, you need to have proper service deliveries that is available, housing, water and electricity. So if an investor wants to set up, let's say, a manufacturing plant in a certain town, they doesn't have capacity to provide electricity or water for the project and also for their employees that are going to stay in that town, it discourages the investor as well. But if government invests in those development projects, investors are able to set up, because they know the operations will run smoothly. And then in the end, you as a government will generate revenue through taxes, but also, it elevates poverty for the population or that is living in town, but just for general public as a whole. So, like I said, you can never shy from public spending in terms of development spending.
Government expenditure is inevitable from the side of government. And now, for the sake of our viewers who might be watching and wondering what we are doing here and why we are sitting specifically here, talk to us about the purpose of the mid-term review exercise. What is the purpose of the mid-term review exercise in terms of budgeting?
Well, you have a budget. So at the beginning of the year, for instance, this it was done in March. The minister tabled our national budget for the 2025-2026 financial year. So now we are reviewing this budget and see how is it performing. Are we tracking well? How is the implementation going? If we had budget to spend this amount of money, are we spending it? And are we spending it at in the right things that we actually intend to spend it? So you monitor and evaluate the performance and the implementation of this budget and see whether you still align to the development plans that you had set in the beginning. But it also gives you an opportunity to actually reallocate resources to projects that actually probably need more funding, and also evaluate projects that are underperforming and see why is this project not performing as the others? See what are the challenges and see how can you mitigate these challenges or how can you solve these challenges. So you always have to review and monitor for you to see your progress. So this is what we're doing here, and it's very important for government to always track how the spending is going, but it also actually builds trust within the Namibian nation, right? And also provide transparency that we know where the money is going as a nation, and you know that is being well spent.
Now, if you were possibly Madam Ericah Shafudah right now.
I do not want that job. I think it's a very stressful job.
And you're probably preparing yourself for a midterm review, and you have known, let's say a week ago or so, 2 weeks ago, you're preparing, you know, if you're looking at the current economic trajectory that's happening in the country, talking of realignment or possibly additions, what do you think could be going through her mind right now? And also the financial advisors and the economic advisors are also advising her as of to where the interventions are needed.
I mean, I think the most important thing always comes to, you know, social impact. So we have our main priorities, which is health, education, and agriculture. So remember what the president said in terms of health, that members of the public and also of parliament must access public health facilities by next year. Is it April, right? If I'm not mistaken. So I think that's one of the main things that's going through her mind into saying, you need to make sure that Minister of Health is well funded, and that whatever amount is funded is being used efficiently and in the correct way. As you know, there's a lot of things, I mean, a lot has been going on in terms of Minister of Health and what the minister is trying to do, direct procurement, and also trying to cut excessive spending and trying to have affordable health care, but also health care that usually where medication is available, and having equipment that is able to cater to the nation. So I'm quite sure she's going to try to make sure that that ministry is well funded for these objectives to be met.
Now we're seeing that the finance minister is making her way to the stairs just to enter the chambers. We also saw that other parliamentarians have also made their way into the chambers here in the National Assembly. We'll be expecting her to be speaking shortly, that is with Johnny Konjo, to give us an update as to what we can anticipate. Maybe she'll give us a glimpse of what we can expect in a statement, but she's always cautious as ever. We know that, you know, it's not anybody who can be the Minister of Finance, but we can see right now she's speaking to our colleagues also from the media who are engaging her and possibly getting a glimpse of what she would expect to be sharing. And definitively we also hope to be getting some few words from her before she enters the chamber to share with us what can be anticipated in terms of her statement. Now, we know that in terms of when you're talking about social impact, that, you know, sometimes the amount of money that we spend on social programs doesn't necessarily always make sense. You know, you'll find those that are in the private sector not saying, what is the point of spending this expenditure? But then, you know, prioritizing maybe economic growth, you know, prioritizing spending for private sector growth, which obviously government benefits through revenue collection, and also spending for impact and general social impact and developmental context impact as well can be quite a tricky one. So, I mean, what must be going through the Minister's Finance saying, I want to spend in a way that promote economic growth, promote private sector growth, but also ensure that I am spending from the government coffers to address the challenges that the people are facing on the day. Where do you strike the balance?
I think that's a very difficult job for you to, find a balance. But I think you need to think of the outcomes of the spending, right? For instance, I know social spending is usually sometimes frowned upon, but if you spend into education, you have an educated nation. If you have a job market that is educated, number one, it increases the quality of labor that you get. Meaning the private sector is able to have quality labor that will actually have a quality output into their entities. But also this graduate will be inspired to start entrepreneurship, start new businesses, and you know, SMEs are the drivers of job creation. So it's very important to not only look at the social impact, but what is the outcome of that social impact. You have to remember, it's not always about job creation. You need a nation that is able to feed itself. If you spend into agriculture, Madam President always say, a nation that does not know how to feed itself, no one respects it. You need to be able to feed yourself. If you have a healthy nation, you have a healthy workforce. You have to remember all of those things. So it's about the impact. What does it mean? What does it translate in long term? Because if you also understand, you are well educated, you can also have access to finances. Because sometimes you see initiatives are launched into Namibia, but people do not understand how to access these initiatives that are usually launched by the government. But if education is free, people are educated, they understand, how can I access this loan? How can I access this loan? Or when government actually offers guarantees loan schemes, it gives an opportunity to the individuals to be able to access this loan to expand their business. To start new business, expand their business and operations, but also to go maybe into joint ventures with foreign investors and also invest back into our economy, which also then in the end improve our private sector and stimulate our economic growth. It's a ripple effect.
A ripple effect. And talking about that, we know that the minister earlier this year was quoted as saying that the ministry will introduce a new reduced corporate tax for SMEs at 20% for the small and medium enterprises to reinvest more into their businesses. Why do we need to capacitate SMEs, and why do we anticipate that there will be some good news, especially for SMEs again within the midterm review budget?
Well, I'm not sure about that, but you have to remember SMEs are competing with multinationals that have access and have funding. But for these SMEs, for them to compete, but for them also to just grow and get from the development from the startup stage, they need a helping hand. And if you see most countries, they have such initiatives that actually protect this investment and foster this investment for it to grow. So it is important to invest into them. Like I said, they are the drivers of job creation. But remember also SMEs, they spend their money within the country. These profits are not exported outside. So these profits and this profits remains within the Namibian economy and is reinvested into the Namibian economy, which then stimulates economic growth. So it's important to always invest into them.
Do you think this maiden review speech for the minister will be a difficult one?
Well, perhaps it will be difficult because we have new cabinet members, most ministries that we actually merge. So it probably was a big task for the minister and her staff to just go through this and realign how they review everything.
Okay. Well, so I have to interrupt you shortly. We have to go to our colleague John Ikonja, who's on standby with the Minister of Finance. John, it's over to you.
Before I say something, but it's okay. Good afternoon, the public. The economy, you might have realized that due to global tensions and geopolitical tensions, as they call it, the global economy has also slowed down a little bit. So is the regional and, of course, the domestic economy. But I'm going to give all the figures in my statement. For now, that's the news.
The money is coming.
The money is coming.
Thank you, Minister. All the best.
Thank you so much.
I never thought I would see the Minister of Finance really saying that the money is coming. Is that a good sign? The money is coming.
The money is coming. The money is coming because the economy is rising. The economy is, things look upwards. The economy is probably coming. If the Minister of Finance says the money is coming, then the money is coming.
Now, we know that this year the finance minister tabled a budget of 106 billion. What do you make of this government spending? I mean, it was a slight increase from last year's budget. We're talking about recovery, but it's quite a huge number.
Like we've been discussing, that government spending stimulates economic growth as well, because you need to invest in yourself. You can't expect private entities or private sectors to invest in your own economy if you do not believe into it. So government, I think it showcases that the government, number one, take responsibility and is very serious about reviving the economy. But at the same time, I think this is a very good outlook, because the government also intends to broaden the tax base by, number one, supporting the emerging industries such as oil and gas, renewable energy, and also just reviving the industry of agriculture, right? So for you to revive certain economies, you need to spend, unfortunately. So you need to spend for you to increase your outcome that comes out in the end.
issue of finance reform to provide stimulus growth to the Namibian economy is, one will be saying, budget is it's ideal, it's good, but is that all that is needed? Do we need to maybe give another stimulus to the Namibian economy for it to pick up?
Yeah, I actually think the government is actually doing that currently, especially with the National Youth Fund that is being introduced actually, because when you invest into SME, you invest into the economy, right? As we say, they are the drivers of job creation, and also government actually has been, for instance, with the tax incentives that they've been introducing by reducing the corporate tax. So number one, it makes Namibia very attractive for investors from outside, but also within local investors as well, because then the tax savings that these entities are making, they're able to reinvest it into their operations, to expand their operations. So that is a very good sign. But also government, especially with the introduction of the internship youth reduction as well, the provision of internship, the youth internship provision.
Internship program
Yes,
provision.
youth internship provision.
Yes.
So that incentives gives businesses a reduction that they get from the government for providing internships to the unemployed graduate. You remember we have an unemployment problem in Namibia. So this gives this graduate an opportunity for them to gain some experience, also give them a leg into employment. So these are the incentives the government is already busy doing. But also government is also busy trying to improve the tax administration in Namibia as well. They are looking at introducing e-invoicing, which then will reduce the time that is spent on compliance, as well as money that is spent on compliance. It makes it very efficient for NAMRA to actually collect the taxes, which then will increase the collection that Namibia is actually getting.
Talking about budgeting, let's talk about the issue of sin tax. Do we anticipate the sin tax will probably go up? And for the sake of our viewers, what is sin tax, and do we foresee a change coming into sin tax?
Yes, of course, sin tax will always go up. Because remember, sin tax is imposed by government to discourage the consumption of certain goods that are deemed not so fit for consumption. For instance, they are discouraging the consumption of alcohol and tobacco products. So they always increase it to discourage the Namibian nation from consuming some of these products.
Let's talk about the impact of sin tax, especially when it comes to general revenue collection. In terms of its impact, is it huge? Does it make a difference, a dent in terms of government revenue collection? Maybe perhaps do Namibians, do they resist some of these suggestions when it comes to sin tax, or do they accept it, and what difference does it make when it comes to revenue collection?
I think it makes a difference for revenue collections. In terms of habits of the Namibian nation, I'm not very sure, but from the past, in terms of statistics for collection, it did not deter consumption from the public. So the collection that is received from sin tax always increases. So yeah.
Okay. Talking about the budget, one aspect, obviously, is that when you plan to have a budget, you look at your income that you expect to have, you look at the expenses that you are likely to have, then in the end you see, will I be able to have a surplus? One always anticipates and hope that you have a surplus, obviously, by the end of that. But should that not work out, then we always find ourselves in a deficit. Now, in terms of the deficit of right now of Namibia, where do we currently stand? And perhaps while you are at it, what is the deficit for the sake of our viewers, and the current debt to GDP that Namibia owns?
So it is currently at when the main budget was tabled, it was estimated to be at 12.8 billion. That's the deficit. So like you said, the deficit is about your expenditure versus your income. So we expect to spend more than we expect to receive in terms of income. So our expenditure is more than our income. So then that's how we end up in a deficit. You're in a minus. So you're planning to spend more than you are going to actually earn or receive in terms of tax collections or elsewhere. So yeah, currently, like I said, we're at 12.8 billion, and against GDP, that's like 4.6 of GDP, which is a bit, I think, for instance, for the past few years, our budget deficit has been reducing. So I do think government is taking measures to try and reduce this budget deficit. So especially when you talk about what is it, government reforms, right, in terms of cutting wasteful spending and reviewing what are we spending our money on, or even just reviewing our procurement plans. Like we spoke about Ministry of Health trying to do direct procurement, because that will, number one, be less costly as well. So then you're able to spend that money effectively, and hopefully all those different initiatives the government is actually taking into account currently will reduce the budget deficit in the end.
I do understand that we are getting ready. We hope to continue this conversation a little bit later after the minister is done tabling, but now we cross over inside the chambers where we understand the official program is about to commence.
Bless our land and all its people. This all we pray in the name of Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. I solemnly affirm that I will be faithful to the Republic of Namibia and its people, and I solemnly promise to uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of the Republic of Namibia to the best of my ability. So help me God. Thank you. Welcome back, and thank you very much, honorable members. Any petitions, any report of standing committees, other reports and papers, notices of questions? Okay. Honorable Thomas.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker, members of Parliament. Good afternoon. Honorable Deputy Speaker, members of Parliament, I hereby give notice that on Thursday 2025, I shall ask the Minister of Health and Social Services from the report of MBC, 2 learners from the Valfes Bay Naravel Primary School tested positive for COVID-19, sending a coastal resident and the public at large in a panic situation. According to the MBC reporter on social media, 2 learners from Naravel School in Valfes Bay tested positive, sending a fearful and dreadful panic to the public. According to the media report, from other administration also confirmed from Dwenside Higher School. The parents want to hear this information of this case of COVID-19 in Naravel Primary School because it's very dreadful. My question, the three questions. Do the Honorable Minister aware about this report circulating in the social media? If so, what step does the ministry take right away to put an end to this? 3, if not, is it possible for the minister to immediately send the medical professional to the area to guarantee public safety? I so submit.
Thank you very much. Please table the question. I now recognize Honorable Susuku.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. I, the Deputy Shadow Minister of Health and Social Services, rise here today and give notice that on Thursday, 30, I shall ask the Honorable Minister of Health, Honorable Lovindao, the following. Honorable Minister, the predicament of the Katima Mulilo Hospital has gone too far and too long without proper attention given to those resettlements. The inhabitants of that region have shared their concern with the Ministry of Health and Social Services, but to no avail. Referrals of patients from Zambezi to other regions are so common. These fuel premonitions of the region. These resettlements will only be attended and necessary action has been implemented. Honorable Speaker, let us consider the cry of those young ladies and boys when they presented on Heroes Day. That is the 26th of August 2025 at Katima Mlilo Sports Complex. Honorable Minister, I would like to ask the following questions on this background. 1. How many times on average does the hospital refer patients to Vendu? 2. Will the Honorable Minister provide the costs associated with fuel and S&T for those referrals? 3. How many patients have died in transit to referral hospital over the past 24 months? 4. How far are the plans to upgrade the district hospital into a referral hospital? The 5th one, Honorable Minister, the district hospital in question could have been referral hospital in 2019 already. Can the minister provide reasons why this didn't happen? Question number 6, when will such long awaited transition take place? The last question, question number 7, when will the ministry going to cater or consider on the faster or quicker transport on referral to accord the patient's opportunity to arrive on time, rather than taking 12 hours on the road? Honorable Speaker, I so submit.
Please table the question. Table the question, Honorable Member. Honorable Fries. Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Honorable Deputy Speaker, I hereby give notice that on Thursday, the 30th of October 2025, I shall ask the Minister of Home Affairs, Immigration, Safety and Security, Honorable Lucia Ipumbu, the following. Crime in Namibia has reached alarming levels, with 110,551 cases recorded in the 2023-2024 financial year. Around the world, cities increasingly rely on CCTV cameras to deter crime, support law enforcement, and enhance public safety. Strategically placed cameras can improve response times, reduce criminal activity, and foster safer communities. In Namibia, the rising crime rates in towns and urban centers highlights the urgent need for similar measures, particularly in high-risk areas, to strengthen public confidence and promote safer towns nationwide. Given that many criminal cases in Namibia remain unresolved, it is high time for government to leverage modern technology such as the installation of CCTV cameras to enhance investigations, fast-track case resolutions, and strengthen overall crime prevention efforts. I therefore wish to ask the Honourable Minister the following. 1. Does the Minister believe that the installation of CCTV infrastructure in different cities and towns in Namibia will assist in police investigations and ultimately reduce crime in Namibia? 2. Could the Minister consider developing a strategic plan for installing CCTV cameras
in high-risk cities and towns to maximize crime prevention and public safety outcomes? 3, can the Minister further explore opportunities to collaborate with municipalities, towns, town councils, private sector partners, or civil society to fund, install, and maintain CCTV infrastructure? And last question, will the Ministry consider to explore piloting CCTV camera projects in selected towns in Namibia with a view to expand the initiative nationwide if proven effective? I so submit. Deputy Speaker.
Thank you. Please table the report. Thank you, Honorable Klute.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, I hereby give notice that on Thursday, 23rd of October 2025, I shall put the following question to the Honorable Minister of International Relations and Trade. Honorable Minister, South Africa's suspension of Namibian agro exports, initiated after a single non-compliant shipment on 11 August 2025 and extended into a full ban from 18 September 2025, has now dragged on over for 2 months. During this period, Namibian producers have lost more than 50 million in unsold produce. Over 1,000 workers in the Orange River Valley have been sent home, and a further 200 million in potential losses looms over the upcoming table grape harvest scheduled to begin on 14th November 2025. So I'll ask the Minister, why did the Ministry allow this matter to persist for such an extended period, and what diplomatic or technical interventions were taken during the 38 days between the initial incident and the full suspension? Secondly, can the Minister provide a verified account of the total economic impact to date, including the estimated 78 million in lost tomato revenue, and explain why existing SACU dispute resolution mechanisms were not immediately invoked to protect Namibian exporters? Number 3, what concrete measures are now in place to prevent the extension of the crisis to the table grape season, which accounts for roughly 3.7 million in USD in annual exports to South Africa, and how will the Ministry ensure reciprocity in Namibia's own import restrictions on South African produce? Honorable Deputy Speaker, this question is asked in defense of our Namibian farmers, workers, and traders who cannot afford another season of silence while their livelihoods are on hold at the border. Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, I so submit.
Thank you. Please table the report. Thank you. I now recognize Honorable Jonas.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. I hereby give notice that on the 30th October 2025, I shall pose the following question to Honorable Minister of Justice, Labour, Honorable Wise Emmanuel. Honorable Minister, the charcoal industry is a significant economic sector and a major employer in Namibia, supporting an estimate of 10 to 14,000 workers, a number projected to grow with a high international demand. As one of the top 10 producers globally and the largest exporter in Southern Africa, the industry generated over 1 billion in export in 2024, earning the new name Namibia Black Gold. Despite the economic contribution, the industry is persisted for severe labor violation. These include starvation wages, poor employment conditions, compromised health and safety, child labor, and exploitation of vulnerable Bazemba community and undocumented Angolan migrant workers. While the ministry have conducted inspection, widespread non-compliance with labor regulation continue, necessitating urgent and decisive intervention. I then pose the following question to the Honourable Minister. Regarding inspection and compliance, when was the last comprehensive labor inspection conducted in the charcoal industry? And what were the key findings? What specific time-bound action the ministry taking to ensure the industry achieve full compliance and urgently improve the working and living condition of the workers? Given the identified systemic challenges, what specific measures and budgetary allocation in the next financial year will increase the frequency, scope, and effectiveness of proactive labor inspection on the charcoal farmers and processing plants? How will the ministry ensure the recommendation of the farmers processing, storage and packaging plant compliance report for 2024 are fully implemented across the charcoal industry? On issues of health and safety, in response to specific evidence linked to respiratory illness to charcoal dust, does the ministry plan to establish a legal, enforceable Namibia occupational exposure limit for respirable charcoal dust? Further, how will the ministry ensure the consistent provision and mandatory use of adequate personal protective equipment across the industry? The last one, what collaboration mechanism has the ministry established with the Angolan Embassy, the Ministry of Home Affairs, to regulate the status of undocumented Angolan workers as recommended in the 2024 compliance report, and to hold landowners who exploit such workers legally accountable? I so submit, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Please table the question. Thank you. I now recognize Honorable Kalola.
Hello, Speaker, mine is an oral question.
Okay. Thank you. Honorable Mbundu.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker, for the floor that you have accorded to me. So, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Member, I give notice that on Thursday, the 30th October 2025, I shall ask the Minister of Education, Art and Culture, Honorable Dr. Sanet Stienka, the following. Education remains the greatest equalizer and most powerful tool to lift up our people out of poverty. It is through education that our children of poor find dignity and unemployed find hope, and the nation find progress. Yet today, many of our young Namibians enroll at the Namibian University of Science and Technology, NUST, the University of Namibia, UNAM, and other tertiary institutions, and are facing exclusion from sitting for their final examination, not because of failure or misconduct, but because of financial hardship. Many of these students come from humble families who can barely afford to put food on the table, but alone pay the tuition fee to deny them the right to sit for their exam. It's denied to their future. By extension, the future of our country. Their dreams are being held hostage by circumstances beyond their control. Honorable Minister, these are not irresponsible students. They are sons and daughters of our nation who have worked tirelessly throughout the year, hoping that one day their education will break the chain of poverty that binds their families. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the essence of our humanity and leadership lies on how we respond to such moment with sympathy, compassion, and genuine will to help. Coming to the question, question 1, can the Honorable Minister urge the Directive of Public Institutions of Higher Learning, particularly NUST and UNAM, to allow students with outstanding tuition fee to sit for their final examination, with their result temporarily withheld until their accounts are settled? 2, will the Honorable Minister consider developing a flexible policy framework that permit in-debt students to settle their outstanding fees over time without undue pressure? The last question, given that the current administration has promised that education will be free from next year onward, Can the Honorable Minister clarify whether students who are currently unable to pay their outstanding fee can be transferred into the system, efficiently writing off the existing due once the fee education policy takes effect? I so submit.
Thank you. Please table the question. I recognize Honorable Binge.
Thank you so much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Good afternoon, honorable members. I hereby give notice that on Thursday, the 30th October 2025, I shall ask the Minister of Education, Innovation, Youth, Sport, Arts and Culture, Dr. Honorable Sanet Steenkamp, the following. It is a matter of serious concern that some Namibian teachers are using school time to create and upload content featuring learners on social media platforms, such as TikTok and Facebook, normally without obtaining parental consent. While the Child Care and Protection Act number 3 of 2015 mandate the safeguarding of children's well-being and privacy, the sharing of learners' images and videos expose children to potential risk, including exploitations, cyberbullying, and long-term digital footprints that may impact their future. Such practices not only violate the rights of children, but also divert attention from the primary mandate of schools, which is teaching and learning. Therefore, I wish to ask the Honorable Minister the following. How do schools ensure that teachers obtain parental or guardian consent before posting images or videos of children on social media? How is compliance with the Child Care and Protection Act number 3 of 2015 regarding children privacy and online safety monitored in school? Honorable Minister, given the potential risk to learners, including cyberbullying, exploitations, and long-term digital footprints, what proactive measures is the ministry taking to safeguard children in digital environment? What measures does exist to make sure that the creation of social media content by teachers do not interfere with our primary goal of teaching and learning in classes? In conclusion, what initiatives are in place to educate teachers about the ethical, legal, and privacy implication of sharing children images or videos on social media? I so submit, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Thank you. Please table the question. I now recognize Honorable Ita Werner.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for the floor. I rise to pose a question to Honorable Veiko Nekundi, Minister of Works and Transport. First of all, I would like to acknowledge what you are doing is wonderful and keep up the good work. In 2015, higher speed cameras were installed in some Namibian highways roads. Roads B1 and B2 to monitor speeding and other traffic violations. This was a good initiative aiming to improve country's traffic control and road safety by reducing higher accident rates. However, the envisaged traffic management system is still dysfunctional. I therefore wish to ask Honorable Minister as follows. When do we expect these indispensable cameras to be functional? I so submit. Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Thank you.
To the point.
Please table the question. Thank you. I now recognize Honorable Mulunga.
Then agent oral question.
Okay. Honorable Haikola. Honorable Karonda. Honorable April.
Oral.
It's oral, agent oral.
Okay. Did we dispose of the written questions? Okay. Maybe in fairness, I must start with Honorable Kalola. I forgot now the sequence, but I hope to remember.
Okay, thank you, DP. But first, I would like to, education is very important. I would like to congratulate Dr. Is the mic on? I would like to congratulate Dr. Stenkamp. Congratulations for the attainment of your doctorate. Please, education is very important. Let us celebrate all of us. Very important.
Others.
Some people are jealous that side. Okay, but anyways, okay, but my question is to Honorable Lubindao. There are a lot of social media reports, posts on the outbreak of monkeypox. I would like to know if, perhaps how factual are these posts? Yes, monkeypox, mpox. I'm continuing. How many confirmed? How many?
You can't preempt.
People
can't preempt. Let the person ask.
In Namibia.
We don't know the thing we're talking about.
Broken down by district.
Honorable, just wait, Honorable Veiko. Honorable Veiko.
On the onset. May I please be protected?
Honorable Kalola, just help me. Now, how will that member know that the statement is coming?
Veiko. It's okay.
Hello? Yeah.
Wearing yellow in Parliament.
Yes.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, the difficulty we have now, and I think you must guide. In the past, when a member asked a question of that nature, there was no problem. The member would then just, when the time arrives, the member of the statement prepared.
Just answer the question.
Last week there was a change to the rule to say if a member has already asked a question and the executive has a minister statement on the same date, the executive cannot. I think you must now guide us to say at what point. No, I'm asking the guidance based on that ruling, based on that ruling, based on that ruling. At what point then do we as executive stand up and say, look, the question you are asking, I have it here. So that then you do not say, look, the ruling is, if a question is already asked, and the executive with a prepared statement on the subject matter, you cannot do it. That's your guidance.
Yeah, no, that's why I was asking, because it is, you agree with me, it's difficult to preempt what somebody is going to ask. The minister has informed that she is going to make a ministerial statement, but I needed to hear the member, and after the member is done, I would have alluded to say, the minister indicated to me about a ministerial statement, and therefore, but I need to hear the member. That's unfortunately how it is. Okay. But Kalola, knowing that education is something you are very proud of, now that you know what is coming, I think let's apply that education that you were so proud of saying. At least that. Yes?
You know, Deputy Speaker, I'm not an oracle to predict future events like him.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Now that the future is made known to you, what the minister is going to
future
deliberate.
is history, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just written the car.
Yeah.
Okay, the first question, I want to know how many confirmed mpox cases are there in Namibia today, broken down by district and date on the onset. The second one, does Namibia currently have mpox vaccine and antiviral treatment available? If not, what are the immediate procurement and distribution plans? That's the second one. The second last, does the ministry have a formal mpox outbreak response plan, including trigger points of escalation? And will the ministry publish a short public version of this plan for transparency? The last one, Emma, just wait.
Princess.
Princess is speaking.
Speaker, please.
Honorable members. What is the age, sex, and risk group breakdown of current cases? Any particular groups affected? So please, Princess, stop.
No, please. Okay, thank you, Honorable Member. I think I will on this one maybe allude to say the minister indicated to have a ministerial statement.
Yeah.
Once we have disposed of this question, the minister will come in, and I think she will address that matter. Okay.
Hopefully.
Thank you very much. Now let me go on the list. Okay, Honorable Soma. No, no, I think it was Mulunga. Then we'll come to you, Honorable Somai. Yeah. Oh. Honorable Mulunga.
Yes. Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. I would like to pose an urgent oral question to the Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Land Reform. Honorable Minister, are you aware that the grape and tomato industry on the banks of the Orange River is on the verge of total collapse? Namibia stands to lose about $2 billion because of the failure of the Plant Health Department in adhering to the South African phytosanitary requirements. Honorable Minister, I want to bring to your attention that the largest producer of tomatoes in Namibia, Sonop, destroyed about 3,000 tons of tomatoes and laid off 1,000 employees, and worse is expected to happen if the issue is not addressed in the next few weeks. I therefore pose the following questions. What urgent steps is the ministry taking to salvage the situation in saving the industry from total collapse? What long-term measures is the plant department putting in place to address the phytosanitary requirements that South Africa is requiring? By when should we expect this issue to be addressed? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Minister. You didn't get the question. Honorable Oscar, let the mic of Honorable Minister be on. Yeah, okay. Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Mulunga. I thought that question was already asked to the Honorable Minister of International. Is a related.
Honorable members, please, let us listen to each other. Please, Honorable Kambala. Okay.
So the question was whether I am aware, and yes, I am aware, and yes, we are working on it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. No. Thank you. Honorable Mulunga, I think we have passed there. No, just take the seat. Take the seat. Take the seat, Honorable Mulunga. Yeah, the oral questions are questions that are deemed to be urgent. And if, no, just wait, I'm having a bleeding nose, so people are saying it's not good. Okay. No. I think I'm fine now. No, Mpox. No, okay. Thank you, honorable members. Oral questions are matters seeking clarity. If a member feels aggrieved, you know what to do. You put the question in writing, and then the answer will follow subsequently. Honorable Somaip. Yeah. No, just wait, Honorable Somaip. No, I know you are the leader, but give Honorable Somaip. I will come. Just switch on.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I have an oral question to Honorable Emma, the Minister of ICT. Finally.
Princess.
Honorable Minister and honorable members, I don't know, is it only me, but I have a disturbing trending videos that are circulating on social media. Also in between the Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister, even the President, about the investment or certain amount to be paid out in a certain way. And very disturbing. A trained officer also approached me, even congratulating us with this new initiative. This is very much dangerous for fraud. So I want to know, maybe, are we aware about this? And what interventions, maybe like a public statement, can we do to make our citizens aware about this? Because if it is from the horse's mouth, people are believing this. And it's trending every day. That's it.
Thank you, Honorable Emma.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker, and thank you very much, Honorable Somaip. Yes, I am aware. but in all seriousness, yes, very, very true. These are AI-generated videos. It's not only a phenomenon that Namibia is experiencing, the world over is experiencing. Sadly, what happens is when you are a public figure and you have a lot of speaking engagements, there are a lot of images out there, it's easy to generate a video or image, collaging all of your speaking engagements. But for anyone who would know me, for example, would know the Prime Minister, when you listen to that voice, you can tell that that's not actually the voice of the person being depicted in the video. And you look closely, the hair might be worked, the eyes, might not align at some instances in the video. But sadly, because we do not have so many people who are so digital literate, who can't tell really from an authentic video or image from an AI-generated one, it's easy for people to believe. What we have done so far is to put a fake news banner across all the images we could find and the videos as well. We have reported those accounts actively on all the existing social media platforms that have been uploaded on. We have reported those profiles as well. We have also issued a statement, I think about a month ago already, around those AI-generated videos, because we noticed the President's one, we noticed the Prime Minister's one, the DPM's one, myself included. So what we did was actually send out a statement that was sent to all the media editors and the very same platforms where people are watching those AI-generated videos. However, because there are so many platforms in terms of applications, the Soras of this world, the open AIs and so on, that are actually being used to generate these items, it's very difficult to actually arrest it. And like I said, it's not only a challenge for us, it's a challenge for so many countries who are trying to ensure that people are not duped into taking decisions. And in this case, following a scam, investment platform, which is a scam for people to lose their hard-earned money. We are seized with the matter. We are exploring multiple ways, but sadly also these AI-generated videos are not from Namibia. The people also who are compiling these videos are people who are not Namibian citizens. So that puts another layer, again, of a challenge to actually track down these people and actually physically arrest them, for example, or bring them in for questioning. So it's really a worldwide phenomenon, and we just inquire and humbly ask citizens to pay close attention to what they consume, to verify, and when we put it on our platforms, we said, always ask for more information at the relevant institution. If it's the Prime Minister's image you see, the Prime Minister has an office, and there's a number, a website, and proper social media platform you can inquire. So that media literacy and digital literacy is what's lacking. But we are seized with the matter, and we'll continue to do our best to make sure citizens don't fall into such traps. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I now recognize Honorable April.
Honorable Comrade Master Deputy Speaker, thank you. I have a question, but I'm not quite poised because the minister to whom I wanted to direct the question is not here. But the Deputy Speaker is here though.
Deputy
In that case, if that's not probably appropriate, then I will direct the question to the supervisor of the ministers, the Honorable Prime Minister.
No, I think...
No, the Deputy Minister is here.
I think we had that engagement, and the rules are saying questions are posed to the minister.
Okay, now then I asked the question in absentia, and the secretary at the table.
Honorable
This is agency.
No, Honorable April.
This is agency.
No, Honorable April, please. The questions
agency
on Rule 131
the minister
is the presiding. The questions must be without notice, must be short, must be as far as possible be answered immediately. Now, your question in the absence of the minister will not be answered immediately. I'm saying the question is to be put to the minister. And then the minister can delegate the deputy minister to answer. Fine. Thank you very much. Honorable Engari.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputies. Attend your caucus meetings,
Hello. Honorable Member. Yes, Honorable Engari.
Speaker, I just want to find out, I have a bit of a cold, but I want to see if I can be protected from the bullies of this house. But there they are, there the bullies are. Nonetheless, Honorable Deputy Speaker, I rise on a point of privilege because I want to understand, Honorable Deputy Speaker, if you may please indulge me. We have questions, and I recognize, and I'm not going to be too long, I recognize that today is budget day. I don't think there's a reason for us to spend any more time on questions. But I want to find out, Honorable Deputy Speaker, how do we deal with questions that are urgent but are on the answer or the question sheet already? There are questions around issues that may be overtaken by events. How do we deal with those questions? Can we raise them again as oral questions? Seeing that the question book is quite thick, you don't have to answer now, Honorable Deputy Speaker. We can always speak at tea break or over a cup of coffee. But I just wanted clarity around that because I see a lot of members are also worried about the questions that they have put in this House. I have one very important question to the Minister of Education. It was actually supposed to be an urgent oral question, but I had to put it in because the Minister wasn't around. But it was around. I don't know whether you will allow me now to put it, or should I don't know. That's why I wanted to ask and see your advice on how we should go about that. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for also allowing me the latitude to choose. Let me apply my mind as to, but you are raising a very important point. How do we deal with the backlog of questions that are there? But it's all of us noting that. I'm sure going forward, I will consult during break, and I'm sure we can take it through that and see what is the next course of action. I now recognize Honorable Haikola.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy. My question goes to Doctor. Congratulations. Not easy getting a PhD. Well done. So my question is about unresolved issues of funding for UNAM Readiness Program students who completed the program and were later admitted to undergraduate students. So the government last year has really, and UNAM had really done a great work for allowing education to reach almost even the students that were not qualified. However, Doctor, this program, students had to, when they were applying, they also had to choose whether they were doing it full-time or part-time. And most of them applied, and later on things have changed, and the course was only given full-time. So I'm speaking because I was tutoring there. So many students, they were forced to say yes, to leave their jobs, to go for full-time. And a lot of them, now, these students, they do not have funding as we speak because NASAF is saying, because readiness was saying, no, even if you have 18 points or 14 points, it's not a problem, just come, which was a good thing. But this year, when they are in the real program, NASAF is saying, no, because you do not have 25 points, we can't fund you. I know there has been, they wrote to the ministry, but the question is just, what is the action on the funding crisis affecting UNAM Readiness Program students, Honorable Doctor? Because exam is starting tomorrow, and these students are really in panic mode, and they are afraid things will just be delayed. No, we'll get back to you, be patient, be patient. At the end of the day, they might be told that, no, we don't have the budget for that. So what is really the action that the ministry will take to help and ease the situation of these students, since they have to concentrate instead of being in this whole stressful situation? Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you. Maybe in answering, just take note that the question time is 20 minutes. We've exceeded that, and with that, I think I will stop there and enroll that, because the rules clearly says the time allowed for urgent questions must not exceed 20 minutes. So it's within the members, when you ask questions, to take note of the time. And in view of that, we have passed the time. Okay. Message, notices of motions. Please, the time is over. No. Let's read. The time allowed for urgent questions must not exceed 20 minutes on each day. No. You see, let's read here and tell me I'm out. Yeah, let's read here and say I'm out. The question time is 20 minutes. That's why we put the clock, and then we look, and then we can, once 20 minutes, it does not say may, it says must not exceed 20 minutes. Because I thought you will ask in less than a minute. That I can't preempt. I must give you the benefit of the doubt. Thank you. No, I will come to you. Notices of motions. Notices of motions. Message of the head of state. Motions. Okay, Honorable Ligando.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. I hereby give notice that on Thursday, the 25,
I shall move that this August House debates and resolves that government urgently implement safety measures to secure all hospitality facilities located along rivers and wetlands in order to protect human life and prevent recurring wildlife attacks. This call follows two separate fatal incidents at Protea Hotel in Zambezi region. Earlier this year, a person was attacked and killed by a hippo at the hotel, and recently a security guard on duty was killed at the same establishment. Further, that government ensures full enforcement of the national policy on human-wildlife conflict of 2009 by requiring hospitality facilities to implement fencing, warning signs, staff training, and coordinated monitoring with relevant authorities. Honorable Speaker, this matter is of national importance and requires urgent attention and action of this House to prevent further loss of life. Honorable Speaker, I so submit.
Please table the motion. Thank you. Honorable Nashinge.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. Just a little reminder that we have an obligation to make sure that the decorum of this House is kept. Now, if we go to Article 41, the ministerial accountability of our colleagues from the executive is very clear. And if we go to Rule 132B, it says the answers to be provided should be relevant to the question asked. Now, Honorable Minister of Agriculture, with due respect, the issue of what is happening. No?
Okay, no, let's hear the member out and then we'll come. Let's hear the member out. Honorable members.
So, can I continue?
Yes.
Yeah. So please, honorable members from the executive, you have an obligation.
Honorable members, let's hear the member out and we make a ruling. Now what do you want me? I must sit it. No. Let's hear the member out.
Where is the motion? We are done with the motion. So, honorable Speaker, can I continue?
Just, we must get the house in order. You can, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, Honorable Minister of Agriculture, with due respect, the way you responded to the question, the way you responded to the question is truly unparliamentary, given the obligation that we have here, Article 41. It's important, so please next time, let us answer questions, provide answers relevant to the questions asked.
Thank you
very much.
Okay.
Yeah, you won't hear me because your colleagues.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, Honorable Nashinge, you have made your point. Honorable members, two wrongs. No, please. Please, honorable members, we can debate, we can look about it. A member can take the floor. He said on a point of privilege. He maybe misused the point of privilege, but That is what he is thinking. The ruling is the minister, just like even read the questions. The questions are clear to say they must not make statements, pronunciations, accusations. Huh? All those things are bundled into the questions. Are we really doing? And where should we draw the line? And that's why I was saying, hear the member out. Once the member is done, I will make a ruling to say the minister have answered to the best of her ability. There is no directive that says how the minister must answer. So we are done with that one. I now recognize Honorable Lutezi.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable Deputy Speaker, honorable members of this august House, I rise to move a motion of national importance, one that speaks to the dignity and inclusion of some of the most vulnerable in our society, persons with disabilities. As lawmakers, it's our duty to ensure that government support mechanisms reflect the true cost of living and respond to the real challenges of our people. The current disability grant, while vital, is not sufficient to meet the basic needs of many households living with disability. I therefore move that this House debates and considers an increment to the disability grant as part of strengthening social protection for persons with disability and their families. I so move.
Thank you very much. Please table. Honorable, please table the motion. You don't want the budget. Thank you. Honorable Aikola.
A point of privilege, Deputy Speaker. Rule 85 says the maximum period for which a member may speak on any subject indicated in this standing rule and debate may not, unless otherwise ordered, exceed the period and frequency specified in the following table. So if we move to a question, the mover has 3 minutes. So you ruled me out, which is unfair, but the students are writing tomorrow and you only gave me 1 minute and my answer is not answered. It was not for me, Deputy Speaker, it is for the students. So I asked for indulgence and to be treated very fairly so that the students can get the answer. They are writing tomorrow, it's not for me, it's for the Namibian child.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Honorable Member, I repeat myself, the same book that you read says the time allowed for urgent questions must not exceed 20 minutes. I operated within that, and that is the issue. Thank you very much. Ministerial statement. Ministerial statement.
Speaker, Honourable Deputy Speaker, honourable members, allow me to provide a ministerial statement on the Mpox outbreak in Namibia. I will provide key highlights for the sake of time, considerate of the fact that we have already issued a media release, and we will try by all means to answer the questions that the honourable member has alluded to, despite the fact that we did mention that we have a statement prior to him posing the questions. However, with that said, the Ministry has received a report of 2 confirmed cases of Mpox from Swakop-Muterongo region. The first was on the 18th of October 2025, and the second was officially confirmed today. The patients are receiving comprehensive treatment at the Swakop District Hospital and are in isolation. I wish to highlight that the first case was related to cross-border travel within SADC region, and then the second case reported today. With that said, I wish to importantly highlight that the suspected cases include 1 from Rundu, who has not been confirmed as a positive case. Therefore, the positive cases stand at 2. Our robust surveillance systems include individual individuals who are tracking signs, symptoms consistent with mpox, promptly identified, allowing for testing and treatment. With that said, I wish to highlight for those that are not aware, mpox is a zoonotic disease caused by a virus which results in a smallpox-like disease in humans. However, the current global mpox outbreak is predominantly human-to-human transmission. Historically, the virus was initially discovered in the year 1958 in monkeys, and then in humans later on in 1970. Since then, mpox has been reported in recent years in numerous countries around the world and in about 17 countries in Africa and counting. These include other countries in SADC, including Zambia, Malawi, and Tanzania. The signs and symptoms include, but are not limited to, fever, intense headache, swollen lymph nodes, muscle aches, and then, importantly, as we've seen, a rash that appears some days after the onset of symptoms and turns into blisters and crusts over time. The rash tends to be centralized or concentrated on the face, the palms of the hands, the soles of the feet, and then the mouth, genitals, and eyes might also be affected. The symptoms and the skin rash generally last for about 2 to 4 weeks. During this time, a person can transmit the infection to others. I wish to highlight regarding transmission, as there has been a lot of misinformation about how it is transmitted. So it is not only transmitted through sexual contact, also can be transmitted face-to-face through close contact, talking and breathing, skin-to-skin touching, sex, mouth-to-mouth through kissing, mouth-to-skin contact, and then respiratory droplets or short-range aerosols from prolonged close contacts. Ulcers, lesions, or sores in the mouth can also be infectious. This means the virus can spread through saliva. Transmission can also occur via the placenta from mother to fetus, which can lead to congenital mpox or close contact during and after birth. Mpox can infect anyone, and it is not associated with any particular group of people or race. It is important to highlight that clothing, beds, towels, or objects such as eating utensil and dishes that have been contaminated with virus from contact with an infected person can also infect others. It is important at this point to highlight that testing is being done locally at NIP, and the turnaround time for results is 24 hours. The risk factors, common risk factors for acquiring mpox I wish to highlight are people engaged in intimate skin-to-skin contact with mpox-infected individuals, healthcare workers and other employees working in healthcare settings, employees and other people handling imported infected products originating from mpox endemic areas, people living in congregated settings such as incarcerated populations, refugee camps, school hostels, people staying in prolonged close contact with persons infected with mpox or having signs and symptoms consistent with the infection. Preventative measures. I wish to highlight that the media release we did put out, as was asked, regarding the strategy forward involves the following. Number one, isolate infected patients from others who could be at risk of infection, which has been done effectively. Practice good hygiene after contact with infected animals or products. For example, washing your hands with soap and water or using an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Avoid direct contact with materials such as bedding or laundry that have been in contact with a sick person. Use appropriate personal protective equipment when caring for patients, which includes a gown, gloves, a respirator, and eye protection in terms of healthcare professionals. With that said, I wish to draw to conclusion by highlighting that it is a virus, it is self-limiting. The studies that have been published highlighted that there is an antiviral that was effective against a certain genome. However, due to the fact that the first case originated from a contact from Tanzania, that particular genotype is not responsive to that antiviral. And with that said, ongoing testing regarding genotype has now begun. I wish to highlight that the morbidity and mortality is very low due to the fact that it is a virus and it is self-limiting. However, treated through supportive therapy, managing pain, and making the patient comfortable, as well as isolation. I wish to also highlight that this morning, the Ministry of Health and Social Services initiated an urgent meeting with key stakeholders, including Africa CDC, WHO, as well as our incident management And it is notable that the team is on the ground to ensure that we contain this as far as possible. With that said, we urge the public to refrain from circulating unverified information. We noted an unverified report today in the media stating that there are 44 cases, which is false and it is incorrect. In addition, the public is further requested not to stigmatize patients, particularly because of the misinformation that was circulating that it is mainly transmitted sexually, which, as I've highlighted, is not the only means of transmission. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable Shitana, Honorable Kalola, Honorable Brinkman.
Thank you very much. Mine is very, very straightforward to the ministry. Can we pay attention, colleagues? Minister, in your highlighting, you did not highlight, in your statement, you did not assure this land that how do we have medicine of such or we don't? You only give us experience of how it's transmitted and all of that, but you did not give us that, okay, at this stage, the ministry has a medicine ready for such or something. There is nothing in your highlighting. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Kalola.
Okay, I don't want to repeat because, you know, she highlighted a lot of things, but for real, I was also waiting to hear the vaccine or response plan. I didn't hear that, or perhaps the way, the tone and the donation of the Honorable Speaker.
No, please, let's, everybody has got his own tone, and please, let us not go there. No, I'm just saying.
No, Speaker. What?
No.
No, Speaker.
No. Thank you, Honorable Brinkman. Honorable, no, Ina, please. Stop being an advocate. Thank you, Honorable Brinkman. Your member, you are wasting your member's time. Honorable Brinkman.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. From the statement, I can understand that currently the ministry does not have any medication or any treatment plan. So can the minister just clarify that? And also I want to know, how prepared are we? I asked this already. How prepared are we, especially in the local clinics? What happens when someone is presenting symptoms? Are there any testing kits there at the clinics, or what is going to happen? Are you going to refer these people? So can the minister just explain to us how prepared are we at the regional and the local level? Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Motu.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. Mine is just obviously to highlight the fact that it is a national budget. But I wanted to ask, what budget how much have you allocated in terms of creating an emergency budget that deals with infectious diseases? Because we're coming from the COVID-19 pandemic, we have had lessons around it. We really want to create a resilient health system. So I want to know the figures. How much have you dedicated to at least fight the mpox? I know the Minister of Finance will sum it up for you, but can you please give us that? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Minister.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, for the question, let me try and change my tone a little bit for the sake of the honorable member. So with that said, with regards to treatment, which I think the first two questions were about, so let me try and highlight this, and maybe perhaps I was trying to speak too fast. So let me try and explain it better so that grammatically we're all together. All right. So it is a virus, and I think it ties into the question that was asked by honorable member as well regarding medication. So what I was trying to highlight to us, and it's good you asked the question, because we do need to promote health education for the public. It's very good. Regarding treatment, it is a virus And so the treatment of a virus is supportive therapy. That's why oftentimes when you have a flu, doctors will tell you that you're not supposed to get antibiotics because it doesn't treat a virus. It's self-limiting. And so the treatment of a virus, and I'm partially answering the question of the honorable at the back there, honorable, I forgot her name. Honorable Brinkman. So to highlight that answer is that the virus is self-limiting, and because of the fact that the virus is self-limiting, the therapy and the treatment is supportive. I highlighted that very importantly. Research has not proven any other treatment that is effective and the treatment thereof. And that's why I referred to the incubation period and the time during incubation where they are still infectious, whereby they must continue to be isolated because there is no one drug, Honorable, that we can procure to get rid of it in one day. It is self-limiting, and therefore after a few weeks, which I highlighted, the patient will no longer be infected. So regarding the treatment plan, I believe I did highlight it when I said supportive therapy, including pain control. Yesterday, I was in Swakopmund on the ground in the hospital, so I was able to see where the patient is being isolated, where the patient is being treated, as well as their treatment chart, which confirms, as I mentioned, the treatment plan, the treatment protocol, and how the ministry is currently treating patients that have been confirmed positive. It was mentioned regarding testing kits, and so let me just elaborate to make it a little bit more clear. So NIP is doing testing, and they test with swabs. So you know, like a swab, when we take a swab, so that's what we are using. That is available at all the NIP facilities, including in the districts, including to the very last mile. So it's a normal swab. It's not anything perhaps different. We swab, and then we send it, to NIP, which is able to do the testing in 24 hours. And then with that said, regarding the budget, Honourable Member, that is a very good question. I wish to, that's actually a brilliant question, mind you. I wish to highlight that the ministry has a budget that is utilized in terms of public health, particularly for surveillance, monitoring, and all of that. Now, with that said, I wish to importantly highlight, the reason I said it's a good question is because that is where ultimately we should not just be at now, but we should be at continuously to be prepared, because one of the things the past years have shown us is it doesn't inform us that it's coming, but it happens. And so with that said, yes, there is a budget that has been allocated. However, we ought to do more to ensure that there's a particular budget for incidences like this that is not only for the entire public health sector, but that is particularly for emergency conditions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That has brought us to the end. I mean, after the minister, then we created dialogue, Honorable Kambala. The round was there. The minister has answered. Case is closed now. We will now break and then to allow the Minister of Finance to come and lead us into the most important aspect of the day. Thank you.
at Parliament, we did see the House take a break, a quick break, that is, to continue their discussions that we're having. We had anticipated that we would have had a statement by the Minister, but yet the lawmakers are still deliberating before, obviously, that happens. But are you still hoping for some increment in government expenditure?
Well, we can only be hopeful. What I'm actually looking forward is what tax proposals the Minister of Finance is probably having for us. I'm expecting to affirm some of the proposals that came along last year and also that were tabled at the main budget in March. For instance, of course, affirming her position to reduce corporate tax further to 28%, and also just affirming her position in terms of introducing e-invoicing, as well as I want to know what's the progress with the Economic Processing Zone Act, to say when will it be effective, will it be done, will it be tabled very soon? Because this act also offers reduced corporate tax for SMEs and also zero rated of certain things in terms of VAT. So ideally there are good tax incentives that should encourage SMEs, but also investments within Namibia. But I'm very hopeful and I'm anxious to see what will she say. Or maybe she will introduce more new progressive tax proposals. So we are waiting in anticipation to hear what she's going to say.
Indeed. We are waiting in anticipation to hear from the Minister of Finance as of what she's likely to share with us. And we can only wait a little bit much longer, seeing that the lawmakers are on a break. We urge you to stay with us while we give you more developments concerning this maiden budget midterm review by Ericah Shafudah, who is the Minister of Table, her first budget statement that is on the 27th of March 2025, earlier this year. We take a small break and we return. We hope to have some small build-up towards the announcements by the Minister and once the lawmakers are also back in the House. Stay tuned as we go for a small break.
The 8th Parliament of the National Assembly is set with 104 members ready to serve and shape the nation's future.
Rule 230, we are now representing the whole of Namibia once we are here.
96 elected members and 8 appointed by the President will debate policies, propose legislation, and work towards the nation's progress for the next 5 years.
The issue of policy instability.
There is the urgent issue of the National Youth Council.
Why are colonial laws, habit-in instruments such as 1896 red line still dominant?
They need inclusion, not tokenism.
Is the ministry going to deploy to ensure child safety, particularly in school environments and public spaces?
That is how seriously government took this issue. That we convened as a government and we said, what can we do?
Namibia is at war, not a foreign war, but one within our homes and communities.
The commitment is there and we continue to endeavor that public service does not stop and that people are able to access government services at all times.
We have moved at a supersonic speed to implement impactful programs that improve the livelihoods of our people.
The National Assembly sits every week from Tuesday to Thursday at 2:30 in the afternoon. Follow the sessions and catch the week's highlights on Inside the Chambers program every Sunday at 4 p.m. NBC, it's ours.
Good day and a warm welcome to your 4 o'clock news highlights here on NBC. With me, Reinhilda Usiku. It's a pleasure to have you in our company. Prime Minister Elia Ngurare encouraged parents to remain steadfast in nurturing their children's dreams, reminding them that every child holds potential that can one day contribute to Namibia's development. He was speaking at Erongo Sech Primary School in Usakos during the school's annual prize-giving ceremony. The prize-giving ceremony was held under the theme A Technical Future Through Science, Technology, Engineering and Mathematics. Prime Minister Ngurare described the theme as timely and visionary as the world rapidly shifts towards technology-driven development.
Parents, number one. The second parent are the teachers. The teachers and the parents, you are very patient as you educate these young people. And when Jesus said, these young people, they resemble the kingdom of heaven, he knew that we must be patient in dealing with them. And therefore the teachers, I know the classes are very full, but to these children here, everything you say in that classroom, they take it with both hands.
Namibia's judiciary has partnered with U.S. Pepperdine University to train judges, lawyers, and mediators on strengthening capacity for the implementation of plea bargaining in the criminal justice system and to expand knowledge and skills in commercial mediation for civil matters. A team from Pepperdine University in California, USA, is in Namibia this week for a special training program on alternative dispute resolution, ADR. ADR helps people solve legal problems through mediation instead of long and expensive court cases.
ADR in Namibia and has a vision for these kinds of reforms within the judiciary so that it can be an efficient judiciary and create access to justice for everybody. And so over that year and a half, we've built a relationship and a friendship and a trust level where he invited us to come to do what we are calling an ADR week. So we're here all week long. The first 2 days are this program, the Commercial Foundations and Commercial Mediation Training, that's happening today and tomorrow, where it is training mediators to resolve cases on the civil side of cases where contracts are broken and that sort of thing.
The Minister of Urban and Rural Development, James Sankwasa, is calling on traditional authorities to stop infightings that are creating disunity which goes against what traditional to improving public services and reducing youth unemployment while helping stabilize the economy, CGTN reports.
The massive healthcare budget will support major hospital projects, including the construction and inauguration of new university hospital centers. The education system will also undergo
Is where will you find the money of that magnitude at this point? So I think that's the main question. Is it possible or not? Honestly, I do not know. But I do think it is a quite cumbersome exercise to find that money at once and sustaining that bill going forward. So if it was a once-off, perhaps, yeah, but to sustain it, yeah, I don't think it's an easy job to do.
Let's perhaps maybe in the context of history provide more depth to the impact. What specifically when it comes to the issue of old pension grants, what is the impact of these grants that are doing in our daily life?
I think poverty alleviation, because most of our people.
Who seconds the motion?
I do apologize. We are being informed that the lawmakers have again constituted in the chambers, and they are ready for us to go back to that parliament where the deputy speaker is leading the session.
First table, my sister. Yeah, bring that one paper.
Let me table my.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. The Secretary will now read the bill the first time.
Bill.
Does the Minister of Finance move that the bill now be read the second time?
I so move.
Thank you very much. Any objection? Who seconds? Thank you. Minister of Finance, you now have the floor.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members of Parliament, fellow Namibians, good afternoon. I am honored to present the mid-year budget review for the fiscal year 2025-2026, along with the fiscal policy statement for the 2026-2027 through to 2028-2029 medium-term expenditure framework, under the theme Beyond 35 for a Prosperous Future. The mid-year budget review aims to provide a comprehensive update on the performance of the economy and public finance management, while outlining the key policy adjustments needed to ensure fiscal sustainability and advance national development agenda over the MTEF period. The launch of the National Development Plan number 6 in July 2025 has established a framework for offices, ministries and agencies to realign their expenditure within the key pillars of the plan, thereby fostering government's commitment to attaining Vision 2030. Among these 4 critical pillars, the human development pillar necessitates an urgent mid-year adjustment for financial year 2025-2026 funding allocations. Concurrently, OMAs are conducting comprehensive reviews to ensure their expenditures align with national development strategic objectives. The financial year 2025-2026 mid-year budget and medium-term budget policy statement were developed against a persistent slowdown in economic growth projections and fiscal challenges, including revenue shortfalls, rising public debt and debt servicing costs, and increasing demands for priority funding in line with national development priorities. As Namibia navigates the complex and evolving global and regional economic landscape, the mid-year budget review reaffirms government's dedication to prudent macroeconomic management, financial stability, inclusive growth, and physical sustainability. The government is committed to keep intact the global appropriation amount of 89.4 billion Namibian dollars for the financial year 2025-2026, and only increase and decrease certain amounts of money allocated to votes by reallocating potential savings and funds from low-performing projects to support the most urgent priorities. It is in this context, Honorable Speaker, that I am humbled in terms of Article 126 of the Namibian Constitution, read with Section 1, Subsection 1 of the State Finance Act of 1991, to table the Appropriation Amendment Bill for the financial year 2025-2026 and the revised estimates of revenue, income and expenditure for the same financial year for the favorable consideration
and approval by this August House. Honorable Speaker, honorable members of Parliament, in terms of global economic and fiscal context, in October 2025 World Economic Outlook Update, the International Monetary Fund estimated global economic growth to decrease from 3.3% in 2024 to 3.2% in 2025, and further down to 3.1% in 2026. The forecast indicates that advanced economies are likely to expand at around 1.5%, while emerging and developing markets are expected to see slightly better growth at just over 4%. Those projections are strengthened by ongoing global disinflation, although variations among countries persist. Looking ahead, prolonged uncertainties, rising protectionism, and disruptions in labor supply could stifle growth. Additional fiscal vulnerabilities, potential corrections in financial markets, and weakening institutions could pose significant risks to overall stability. Growth in the sub-Saharan Africa region is estimated at 4.1% in 2025, before picking up to 4.4% in 2026. The upward revision was driven by relatively improved output in Nigeria, which is expected to grow by 3.9% and 4.2% in 2025 and 2026 respectively, owing to high oil production and improved investor confidence. The South African economy maintains a stable momentum, with projected growth of 1.1% for 2025 and 1.2% in 2026. On the fiscal policy front, the International Monetary Fund's Fiscal Monitor of October 2025 projects global public debt to exceed 100% of GDP by 2029, with a risk scenario pushing it to 1.4%. Governments are encouraged to adopt a more strategic approach to spending, focusing on enhancing efficiency rather than simply increasing budgets in response of rising global public debt and fiscal challenges. By redirecting funds towards growth-enhancing sectors such as education and infrastructure, it is possible to foster sustainable growth. The report emphasizes that improving the efficiency of public spending could positively influence overall output, while further underscoring the importance of strengthening institutional capacity for effective implementation of these reforms. Now, turning to the domestic economy. Going forward, the economic growth is expected to slow down to 3.3% in 2025, compared to the initial estimates of 4.5% in the 2025-2026 main budget. The downward revision is due to lower output in the secondary industries, slowing to 1.9% from 3% in 2024, owing to an expected contraction in the manufacturing sector. The primary industry is estimated to grow to 2.5% in 2025, relative to 1.8% in 2024, supported by increased activities in the uranium mining and other mining and quarrying subsectors. The tertiary industry is estimated to moderate to 3.7% in 2025, from a strong 4.9% growth in 2024. Overall, growth has been revised downwards for the remainder of the MTEF period, projected at an average economic growth of 3.6%, in contrast to a projected MTEF growth averaging at 4.3% in 2025-2026. Honorable Speaker, honorable members of Parliament, on the monetary and external subsectors, the Bank of Namibia, through the Monetary Policy Committee, lowered the repo rate by 25 basis points to 6.5% in October 2025. This is due to subdued domestic economic activities and well-contained inflation, which exhibits a favorable medium-term outlook. The decision was made to support economic activities in the domestic economy to continue safeguarding the peg between the Namibian dollar and the South African rand. On the external sector, the merchandise trade deficit narrowed on an annual basis during the second quarter of 2025. The merchandise trade deficit contracted by 49% year-on-year, of 4.5 billion Namibian dollars. The annual improvement in the merchandise trade balance was ascribed to an increase in export receipts, which rose by 5.4% to 25.6 billion Namibian dollars, driven mainly by gold and uranium export receipts. In contrast, merchandise imports rose modestly, increasing by 2.8% year-on-year to 30.1 billion Namibian dollars. This increase was primarily due to higher imports of vehicles, machinery, electrical and mechanical appliances, and chemical products. Annually, the nominal effective exchange rate appreciated by 0.2% during Q2 of 2025, driven by a weaker US dollar due to concerns over the US fiscal policy, central bank independence, erratic policy changes, a temporary tariff pause, and easing geopolitical tensions. This appreciation helped lower import costs, reducing inflationary pressures. Meanwhile, the real effective exchange rate rose by 1.5% annually, and this was driven by high domestic inflation related to trading partners. As a result, Namibia's trade competitiveness declined moderately, making exports more expensive and imports relatively cheaper. In terms of fiscal development for the year 2024-2025, actual revenue for the financial year 2024-2025, total government revenue and grants in the year 2024-2025 amounted to 89.1 billion Namibian dollars, a notable increase of 9.3% from 81.4 billion Namibian dollars collected in the financial year 2023-2024. This growth was primarily driven by a robust recovery in the SAPU revenue, which expanded by 15%, while VAT and diamond royalties also contributed positively, rising by 14% and 26% respectively. Other revenue streams slowed during the 2024-2025 fiscal year. Actual expenditure for the financial year 2024-2025 amounted to 100.1 billion Namibian dollars. This included grant funding, a 14.3% increase from the 87.1 billion Namibian dollars recorded in the financial year 2023-2024. This growth was driven by increases across various expenditure categories, such as personnel expenditure, which rose by 9.5%, while spending on goods and other services grew by 15.7%. Furthermore, subsidies and other current transfers increased by a notable 22.3%. The budget deficit for financial year 2024-2025 increased to 4% of GDP compared to 2% of GDP recorded in 2023-2024 financial year. The increase in deficit stemmed from a higher increase in operational expenditure due to an additional request of 3.2 billion that was appropriated through the Appropriation Amendment Bill for the financial year 2024-2025, targeted towards addressing emergencies, pressing social needs, and elections. Public debt as a percentage of GDP grew by 1.3% to 167.2 billion Namibian dollars in the financial year 2024-2025 from 153.7 billion Namibian dollars in the financial year 2023-2024. Total guarantees as a percentage of GDP remained at around 3.4% as a ratio to revenue. Honorable members, Honorable Speaker, Honorable members of Parliament. Now turning to the 2025-2026 mid-year revised projections. During the mid-year fiscal assessment, the revenue outturn reached 36.6 billion, constituting 40% of the total budget estimates by end of September 2025. While this figure is significant, it is essential to recognize that the revenue collection has slowed, falling 10% points below the performance seen in the corresponding period of the financial year 2024-2025. As of September 2025, the total expenditure and commitments, excluding statutory, had reached 41 billion Namibian dollars, which accounts for 39% of the budget spending for the fiscal year. This reflects a decrease of 4% points compared to the 43 rate recorded during the same period in the year 2024-2025. The government's balance sheet, total cumulative public debt reached 176.3 billion Namibian dollars by the end of September 2025. This rising debt stock is compounded by a significant increase in debt servicing costs, with interest payment totaling 6.8 billion, a substantial 6.4% point increase compared to the interest expenditure as of September 2024. In contrast, contingent liabilities showed a marginal improvement as the stock of government guarantees decreased to 8.1 billion Namibian dollars, that is during the period under review, from 9.3 billion Namibian dollars. This represents a modest reduction of 0.6% when compared to the corresponding period in 2024-2025. The baseline scenario, I have already mentioned all the figures from the revenue, expenditure, deficit to debt. If the base scenario is left unattended, it's really highly undesirable and will lead to serious deterioration of physical anchors such as the debt to GDP ratio levels. Urgent pressing actions as exposed under economic policy measures, as well as restraining the expenditure envelopes in the immediate period, will lead to a much more viable and manageable scenario. Honorable Speaker, honorable members of Parliament, let me now talk a little bit on the progress in the implementation of the priority projects, because we need to account, right? I would then like to take a moment to highlight some notable progress on some of the priority projects for this financial year as at end of September 2025. In terms of agriculture and reform and water management, Her Excellency Dr. Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, the President of this Republic, Namibia, stressed the importance of Namibia achieving food self-sufficiency through state-controlled green schemes, among others. For this reason, we would now want to give you progress as follows. The Ministry of Agriculture and all other components intensified efforts to scale up production across national green schemes, targeting over 8% land utilization during 2025 summer cropping season. These schemes are instrumental in reducing hunger, improving household nutrition, and strengthening national self-sufficiency. In terms of a Tunda Green Scheme, 3,600 tons of maize were harvested. In terms of wheat, 480 tons were harvested. In terms of potatoes, 600 tons were harvested. And in terms of onions, 660 tons were harvested. And when you get the speech, you get even the hectares that were put into production. In terms of Secondo Green Scheme, wheat yield, they achieved 6 tons per hectare from 120 hectares harvested in October. Summer, 300 hectares scheduled for diversification or diversified crop production. In terms of Dongali Nena Green Scheme, 4,320 tons of maize were harvested. Wheat, 2,520 tons were harvested. If we are not giving ourselves a round of applause, I do not know what we are waiting. That's better. Thank you, that's better. I'm going to continue giving progress on the projects and the achievements that we have attained. In terms of livestock vaccine, procurement and its impact. In parallel, the ministry implemented a robust livestock vaccination campaign to safeguard animal health and stabilize protein supply, directly contributing to national food security. In terms of boreholes, we have successfully established a total of 63 boreholes across various communal areas. Specifically, Homas, there are 6, Oshikoto 6, Omsati 3, Ohangwena 6, Harda 10, Omaheke 10, Karas 2, Unene 7, Erongo 2, Otozondupa 1, Zambezi 7, Kavango West 7, and Kavango East 6. What a government. I am continuing. Ongoing works on the construction of F-dams. One, each in Ohangwena, Oshikoto, Omsati, Taras, and two in both Kavango East and Kavango West are also set to be completed during this current financial year. In terms of housing and land servicing, government has declared the formalization of informal settlements a basic human right, emphasizing dignity, decency, and access to essential services such as water, sanitation, and affordable housing. In this regard, during the review period, 9 new townships were approved and gazetted. These include, among others, Brook-Arrows in Ketmans, Mariendal Extension 5, this one now, Pratis Hillville, Extension 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 in Kos, Onipa, and Extension 20 in Otapi. The construction of new houses, together with our partners, the Shack Dwellers Federation of Namibia, constructed 2,160 houses in all 14 regions, with the highest concentration in Erongo, which is 392, Oshikoto 349, and Kunene 269 houses. Furthermore, 2,160 households were provided with proper sanitation during the period under review. In terms of health infrastructure, upgrading and renovation of Onanjokwe Referral Hospital, the activities on this project, that is being the construction of the maternity ward and the pediatric ward, are ongoing and are currently at 85% completion. Of course, the expected completion date is earmarked to be still before the end of this month. Then we move to upgrading and renovation of Katutura Intermediate Hospital. The renovations are ongoing, and what is also critical to know here is the installation of an oxygen generating system. Construction of the Commerce District Hospital, the one that all of us want to see. Progress. This 500-bed Commerce District Hospital, which is in the Havana constituency, will form part of the national healthcare infrastructure, helping to meet the increasing demand for quality healthcare services. And what we have here is that the activity that commenced in April 2025, it was for bulk access roads and water infrastructure, as well as the electrical services works that also commenced in July 2025. In terms of percentage progress, we are at 40%. And yes, it's still good. It's still good. We are continuing. Then now we are going to, that was 40%. Now we are going to upgrading. Now we are going to, now we are going to, again, just to give emphasis on Oshakat Intermediate, right? We said it is now at 78%. Yeah? 78%. Now, in terms of education, teachers, in terms of education, honorable members, the construction of Getman's VTC is at 99% completion. Okay, now, youth development. The National Youth Development Fund was launched in September 2025. And as was already mentioned, 11,475 applications were received from all the 14 regions. Of these applications, 6,111 projects were submitted through Development Bank of Namibia, 5,070 agricultural applications went to AgriBank, and 294 eco-friendly projects went to Environmental Investment Fund. From these, and for the purpose of the launch, 42 successful projects were chosen at the value of 14.8 million Namibian dollars. Now listen, the 3 implementing institutions, this is very important to all of us and to the nation. The three implementing institutions, being Agribank, Development Bank of Namibia, and EIF, will continue to apprise the remaining applications and further call for other applications. So this is an ongoing program. Thank you. Thank you. Now coming to the medium-term expenditure framework for the period 2026-2027 to 2028-2029. This framework gives priority to three pillars, that is, economic growth through infrastructure development, as well as through state-owned enterprises for job creation. A coordinated tax reform via the medium-term revenue strategy and maintaining a positive primary balance to manage the debt. Very, very important. In pursuing these essential pillars, the process will be guided by a very thoughtful array of actions and commitments, namely, boosting economic growth. The budget will focus on sectors like agriculture, youth employment, creative industries, incorporating initiatives also from SOEs. And this pillar will also be complemented by the private sector-led growth activities. Diversified financing strategy. The government plans to transition from bond issuance to a diversified strategy that utilizes guarantees, aiming to enhance public investment through commercially viable state-owned enterprises. Optimizing public expenditure. The Ministry of Finance will conduct public expenditure reviews and digitize budget management to improve efficiency and service delivery. Robust revenue mobilization. The medium-term revenue strategy will outline revenue mobilization objectives aligned with the national ambitions and sustainable development goals, integrating with existing financial frameworks. Effective debt management. The Ministry of Finance aims to stabilize debt levels while ensuring a positive primary balance and implementation of the debt management strategy called the Meridian Debt Management Platform. That will also help us in fiscal planning. In terms of tax policy reforms, the Namibian government is poised to implement a series of tax reforms designed to bolster both competitiveness and fairness within the economy. These initiatives align with global trends that advocate for increased tax-to-GDP ratios to facilitate economic growth and promote reduced inequality through a progressive taxation framework. The Income Tax Amendment Bill 2025, which includes 10 proposals that were already announced, has been presented for legislative consideration and is anticipated to be passed by this August House before the end of this financial year. Among the key proposed changes are enhancements to the lump sum retirement benefit, the introduction of caps on housing benefits tax structures, and adjustments to the taxation of dividend income from preference shares. Corporate tax reforms are also slated to feature a 20% rate for small and medium enterprises, a rate reduction to 28% for non-mining businesses, and the establishment of a 20% rate for special economic zones enterprises. The alignment of taxation of long-term issuers to other non-mining businesses form part of these reforms. In conjunction with these reforms, like I have already mentioned, the ministry is developing a comprehensive medium-term revenue strategy that is aimed at guiding the tax reform. This strategy will address policy, administrative, and legal considerations, while also focusing on mobilizing resources for development. Further tax proposals will be mentioned when I table the budget in February 2026. Now, this is what I'm going to read now. Listen slowly, carefully, because it's very important to all of us and the nation. We continue to review the ease of tax compliance. Good standing certificates are a necessary tool in tax compliance. To reduce the cost of compliance to taxpayers, and tax administration, the validity period of good standing certificates will be revised to 1 year for individuals and small, medium enterprises and 6 months. Okay. Next. The Income Tax Act provides for powers to freeze and appointment of agents to collect outstanding taxes. This is used only for businesses and individuals who can afford to pay what they owe, but are choosing not to. The order can be given to banks and employers when taxpayers refuse to pay acknowledged tax debt. We are reviewing the criteria to be met and the stringent safeguards to be in place when accounts are to be frozen or agents ordered to collect tax. Very, very important. Yeah? The taxpayers have been crying that why are we freezing their accounts? So it's a bit of a relief, right? Now, last one, for the small, medium enterprises. The use of clearing agents for imports is not mandatory, but optional. NAMRA, the Namibia Revenue Agency, will issue public notices on how SMEs importers can register to self-clear. They are no longer going to waste it within a defined threshold. Okay, I continue. Honorable Speaker, honorable members of Parliament. Now, in terms of the financial year 2025-2026 Appropriation Amendment Bill, at the beginning of this year, that was on the 27th of March 2025, I stood before this August House and I tabled a budget of 89.4 billion Namibian dollars, consisting of 79.8 billion Namibian dollars in operational expenditure, 9.6 billion in development expenditure. In addition, I announced an amount of 3.2 billion for projects to be funded outside the state revenue fund and 13.7 billion Namibian dollars in interest payments, bringing the total expenditure for the financial year 2025-2026 to 106.1 billion Namibian dollars. Now, the mid-year budget review process provides us with an opportunity to improve the effectiveness of resource allocation by taking stock of collective implementation of the national budget so far, making the requisite adjustments and ensuring that government remains on course to achieve planned annual development priorities. During consultations for the mid-year budget review in September 2025, additional expenditure requests to the tune of 11.1 billion Namibian dollars, comprising of 8.2 billion for operational and 2.9 billion Namibian dollars for development budget, were proposed for considerations. The requests were carefully reviewed in accordance with a defined set of criteria for unforeseen and unavoidable expenditures. The expenditure analysis revealed that certain OMAS funding plans are progressing as expected, while others may face the possibility of under or overspending. In addressing these concerns within the revised revenue constraints, prioritization of activities was considered and implemented a reallocation of funds within and between the appropriated vote ceilings. As I have indicated earlier, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Members, we are projecting to realize a shortfall in revenue to the tune of 3.2 billion Namibian dollars for the financial year 2025-2026, as per the projections. In addition, given the low execution rates of capital projects, a total of 826.4 million Namibian dollars has been identified for reallocation, with potential realized savings from vacant positions across OMAS of 378.6 million Namibian dollars for this financial year. Therefore, in keeping with the fiscal sustainability narrative, we balance this expenditure requests against the available resource envelope. As a result, the financial year 2025-2026 Appropriation Amendment Bill provides for the free allocation of 1.2 billion Namibian dollars as follows. An amount of 814 million Namibian dollars is proposed for consideration to the Ministry of Education, Innovation, Youth, Sports, Arts and Culture, of which 663 million Namibian dollars is to cater for registration fees and tuition fees for the first quarter, that's January to March 2026, in line with the approved stance of subsidized free tertiary education. The other 151 million Namibian dollars is for the recruitment of additional 665 teachers. A total of 185 million Namibian dollars was added to the Ministry of Health and Social Services to recruit 1,537 health personnel. We are in the world of unforeseen events, and therefore the contingency provision should be considered during this period. And for that, an amount of 61 million is availed for the contingency provision. In addition, 50 million to vote president to cater for personnel expenditure and related goods and services for the oil and gas unit, security equipment, and maintenance. The replenishment of the National Emergency Disaster Fund under the Office of the Prime Minister is recommended to receive an additional 50 million to cater for the increased turnout of beneficiaries in the concluded drought relief program. It is the year of elections. The Electoral Commission is to receive an amount of 30 million Namibian dollars to cater for the shortfall caused by additional by-elections that were carried out during this financial year. Now this one, nobody should give me an applause. National Assembly, the House of the Good, is to receive additional 15 million Namibian dollars to cater for the shortfall on personnel expenditure and the parliamentary committee's oversight, and a further 30 million Namibian dollars to purchase a building for members of Parliament's office accommodation. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, in being consistent with the spirit of the mid-year budget review process, the global total appropriation amendment bill for 2025-2026 remains unchanged at 89.4 billion Namibian dollars. In summary, we have increased the operational budget for this financial year by Namibian dollars 826 million to a total of 80.6 billion Namibian dollars, while the development budget has decreased from 9.6 billion Namibian dollars to 8.8 billion Namibian dollars, representing a 9.38% reduction. Debt servicing cost is revised upward from 13.7 billion, that's 14.8% of revenue, to 14.3 billion Namibian dollars, which is 16% of revenue. Before I conclude, allow me to quote the World Bank Group President, Ajay Banka, at the recently concluded 2025 annual meetings plenary, and he stated, "A job is what happens when a school leads to a skill, when a road leads to a market, when a clinic keeps someone healthy enough to work, and when energy powers a business." Very powerful, right? Therefore, we remain committed to funding education and healthcare, and that is how we turn investment into impact. I also want to end with Her Excellency President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah's call for speedy, effective, and efficient execution of projects to bring about the much-needed jobs for our people, particularly the youth. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, in conclusion, I want to acknowledge my colleagues at the Ministry of Finance, they are up there. The National Planning Commission, they are also up there. The bank, there. All of us, OMAS, and the Bank of Namibia for their unwavering dedication during the compilation of the mid-year budget review. I also commend the team of Namibia Revenue Agency, they are also there, for their relentless efforts in mobilizing the critical revenue that we all need. And for that, I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, honorable members. It's now time I see Honorable Klute. Just wait. Okay.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Thank you, Minister of Finance. Would like to postpone this debate to the 28th of October so that we can come back with a rebuttal of this voluminous document. 28th of October.
Okay, next week Tuesday.
Next week Tuesday.
Okay. No, Honorable Kambala. No, I will. Huh? The same. Okay. Okay, let me hear Honorable Willem.
Yeah, no, Honorable Deputy Speaker, I would like to postpone this discussion to tomorrow, as we need to urgently look into this matter and finish for the best of the people. Thank you, Speaker.
Okay. Bye. Yes. Honorable Bishop, you want to contribute?
Honorable Speaker, this motion cannot be postponed until tomorrow because we have to go through all this.
Yes.
No, we are also postponing to the 25th.
Okay.
We cannot go through. We must go through and make sure that we have all the information.
Yeah, no. Yes, thank you. Honorable members, look, any member can postpone the debate. This is something we've came up with. So if a member proposes a day that is earlier, then the earlier date take precedence. That's something we've come up with. So Honorable Klute has postponed it to the 28th, but Honorable Velem has postponed it to tomorrow. The discussion will take place tomorrow and follow accordingly. Yeah. Thank you. It now leaves. Huh? African, honorable member, you are objecting on what basis? Yeah, quote the rule. Quote it.
85. Put the privilege, but Speaker, you know what I'm saying.
Quote the rule, Honorable Kambala.
But Speaker, you know what I'm saying. Is that all that you are saying is that, Speaker, normally what you do is that if there is a difference in the House, we go for a vote. And I'm saying this because we are asking for the 22nd, for the 23rd, 28th of October to dissect the budget. But if there is somebody, if there's a counter, of tomorrow which is there, then we go to vote. It's simple.
Okay. You see, no. I think here it's just, I don't know why things. We have come a long way with this postponement. We have explained time and again. That's why even when you postpone the debate on discussion, I don't even seek for secondment. Yeah. Now, we want us to interrogate. The point will stand. The debate on the appropriation bill will be postponed until tomorrow. It will stand because there is a member who has proposed move for that, and that will be it. Yeah. No, I want to go to the orders of the day. Unless the members... Okay, point of privilege.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. I rise as a senior member of this House, fully aware of the rules and the basis of decisions, or the basis on which decisions have been made in this House. There has never been a time, Honorable Deputy Speaker, where the ruling party or the governing party presents a budget and that debate is postponed by a member of the same party. That is fact. That is fact. I'm not guessing. That is fact. In fact, the rules provide, and the rules are clear. They say in a situation where the rules are not clear, or in cases where they're not provided for, we will go by what? I'm sure, Deputy Speaker, you know where I'm going. What has been practiced, number one, based, of course, on normal practice and what the decisions and how the decisions of this House have been made. Yes, Honorable Deputy Speaker, you are right. Whatever decision you take today will stand. But I think it is only within the rights of every member of this House to be heard. So, and the saying goes, it says that let me have my say and you can have your way. But at the same time also, Honorable Deputy Speaker, the appropriation bill is not just like any other ordinary bill. It is an appropriation bill that deals with the national purse of our country. It is such an important debate, Honorable Deputy Speaker, that the minister takes so much time, even the ministry itself, in consulting the line ministries, the OMAs. That is why we are presented with such a thick book, actually, to go and study. It is not reasonable for an honorable member to come here and say we are going to debate this motion tomorrow or this appropriation. We are not dealing with cooker shop matters here. We are dealing with the national purse. And it would only have been right, in fact, it would only have been right, Honorable Deputy Speaker, from your side as a presiding officer, to protect the rights of the official opposition, to actually postpone this debate, affording them the right to actually be the first to respond officially to the national budget.
Okay. Honorable members, I will read circumstances not provided for. Senior member, where the statute, these standing rules or seasonal order or convention or practice of the House do not provide for a matter, the Speaker or the Chairperson of the whole House may issue a ruling to determine the matter and may make references to the rules, forms, conventions, and practices of other Commonwealth parliaments insofar as the rules, forms, convention, and practice are applied to... Please, let me read. Let me read. A ruling framed by the Speaker or the Chairperson of the whole House under the sub-rule remains in force until set aside by the House, passed on a recommendation of the Standing Committee on Standing Rules and Orders and International Arrangement. Now, if the official opposition was not going to be accorded an opportunity to respond, I agree. But the fact that they want to study and come back on the 28th, and others want to come back tomorrow, that makes it still a viable option for the opportunity to be heard. Which convention? No, every member can postpone a debate. Yeah. Which, now, you see, and that is where I'm saying, the ruling, and if the member is going to be denied an opportunity, I was going to be the first person to say that is not right. But I'm saying every member is going to be given the opportunity. Therefore, the 28, the member will still contribute. The other one who wants to contribute tomorrow will still contribute. So therefore, the debate is postponed until tomorrow, unless you quote me a convention which I have erred. Thank you very much. Okay, the secretary will now read the second order of the day. Thank you, thank you.
Second reading, mental health bill. Second reading, mental health bill.
Thank you. When the Assembly adjourned on Wednesday, the 15th of October, the question before the Assembly was a motion by the Minister of Health and Social Services that the bill be read the second time. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Okay. Honorable Ipumbu. Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, Honorable Ipumbu Lucia.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Oscar.
Let me make use of this opportunity to appreciate the Honorable Minister for tabling this very important piece of legislation. Where we are now, issues of mental health have become very, very critical, and it's necessary for all of us to embrace this bill as it speaks to issues of reality that any of us can find ourselves in such a situation. And I really, really appreciate the fact that I believe a few years ago, I took a time out to visit the facilities where our patients are held. And I am backing my statement and pegging it to the contribution of Honorable how do I forget your name? Honorable, no. Who spoke last week? Yes, who spoke about the facilities? Sharonese Bush. The facilities in the country are very few. And first I want to look at what we have in terms of the establishment of such facilities.
The difference.
And the derogatory, it already gives an indication of some kind of stigma. If you go to Oshakati Hospital, any person who's referred to as a patient of Ward 16, or here, Central Hospital, it's referred to as Malcolm. Already those words give a derogatory name which have in itself contain some elements of discrimination. Mental health can affect any of us. And as I perused the bill and I looked at the definitions, Honorable Minister, what I am missing is various categories of illnesses that can be classified as mental health. I believe that can be catered for under the regulations. You would have a case of depression which leads to issues of mental health. You would have psychiatric patients, you would have some other categories as we have them, which are classified and can be classified under mental health. And I believe the list, without being exhaustive, it needs to be quantified maybe under the regulations. And also we have cases where mental health is a progression from any other type of illness. A person can start with any normal illness that can progress into and deteriorate into a state of mental condition which have developed from another illness. I believe all those should be classified. You have cases of cerebral palsy which are also then developing, can culminate into mental health. And already at onset, such cases should be treated with care and with classification, because I am saying so because in most cases, as family members, we tend to keep these patients away and hide their real conditions and not expose them to the treatment that they deserve at an early stage. And at the time we would expose them to institutions that can assist them, it would be too late. I also want to talk to the concern. I see it's catered for under Section 24 in the bill, the involuntary admission to institutions. There are cases where sometimes a family member may be causing troubles, trouble to the family or in the environment, and for people to get some relief, they will classify an individual as a mental patient. And in most cases, they would call either the law enforcement officers or a hospital and ambulance or somebody to pick this individual up and get them admitted in these facilities without their consent. I am happy that under Section 24, the procedures are narrated that would culminate into either voluntary or involuntary admission. So if it's involuntary admission, I am happy to note that there are procedures that are to be followed before a patient or somebody is admitted thereon. I also want to talk to the community-based facilities that are catered for under Section 28. It's a good initiative, but I believe they need to be subjected to specific conditions. I have also, like I said, I took time to look at some of the facilities. I also visited some community facilities, supposed to be, that are in the care of individuals who have just volunteered in the community to assist and to keep some of these categories, especially children that are falling in that category. And you would find that these facilities are not fit for purpose. Sometimes just the basic amenities are not there. And it's my recommendation that as we are classifying them, maybe in the regulations we should also define the requirements that would make them habitable and fit for purpose. You would find a facility that does not have window, that does not have the barricade, and it does not provide safety, or sometimes it has facilities that would, or equipment that may pose danger to those that are admitted in there, because not everybody who's admitted would be able to determine what is dangerous for him or her. And I think those facilities, they should be a definition of exactly how they should be. Just like when we say you have a dwelling, a house, it should have an entrance, a door, exit door, and a door on the kitchen. Let us also have a standard that is set specifically for those facilities for them to be able to be fit for the purpose. And Comrade, development of state facilities. And I'm also advocating not only for the improvement, but also for the demarcation. If you go to those state facilities, you would find that a person with bipolar mood, with depression, with another condition, they are all just ramped in one specific facility. And sometimes you would find that some of them, and remember I said me and you can also be, can be patients, can be admitted to such facilities. And imagine you as a lawmaker, imagine you as an academic. It does not mean that when you have a mental condition, you are not useful, you cannot do other things. Sometimes you are an academic, you want to study, you want to write your thesis, and you are not accorded that opportunity. You are just lumped in the group with everybody else, and that does not speak to the dignity of a person. I am not saying people must be classified according to their social statuses, but I am advocating for mild to severe cases to be demarcated, because you can't have everybody else in the same facility when sometimes the extent of the mental condition is not at the same level. You would find somebody who just needs some therapy, they still need to sit with their laptop and do their work in that facility while waiting for them to recover. The other thing is also to encourage, especially the private operators. Mental health is left for state and government. You hardly find a private doctor or an investor investing in a facility that is private, which I think can accommodate the categories that I'm referring to. And that's why at the end of the day, everybody would be sent to the same facilities. But if we demarcate, and if somebody, because of also their privacy and their dignity, would want privacy, or family members would want their patient privacy to be protected, I am encouraging the investors and medical doctors also to invest in private mental facilities. I know Honorable Kavetuna, when she was here, she advocated at all time for that, and she have devoted all her energy to make sure that mental health become one of the activities that are really recognized, especially within the medical fraternity in general. The last thing I want to talk to is the training. In this training, I am asking Honorable Minister, from our angle, and I'm speaking from the statistics that I have, we get weekly reports from Namibia Correctional Facility. And out of the 4,500 inmates, we have about 671 inmates with mental health conditions. And our officers are not trained in any way to pick up, to handle these patients. Of course, we have in our establishment some medical trained officers, the nurses maybe and a few doctors, but you may recall that sometimes when some of these patients get agitated, it's either the police or other law enforcement officers that are called to come and pick them up or to handle them. And I'm advocating for Honorable Minister there to be some platform where these officers can also be trained and be given experience in how to handle such cases. Because what I have noted is that in some instances, whenever the family or the people in the surrounding environment realize that they are not able to handle the patient or somebody with a condition, the first call goes to the police. And the police officers do not have the necessary skills. So allow us also to then, as when the bill is enacted, there to be provision for training for our officers also that handle such patients. And then all I want to say as a final comment is to say that, like I have said earlier on, that all of us are candidates for mental health. And what I want to say is that let's increase the facilities, not only the state facilities, but like I have called for the private sector also to invest in that. And also to respect the integrity, the dignity, and the privacy of the patients. You would find some of them sometimes are chained, some of them are paraded. I don't think any of us, if it could have been you, would have wanted to be paraded in such a condition. And those of us that have them in our homes, let's take care of our family members and our colleagues and our friends, because this is a disease that is not limited to anyone. I believe with all those sentiments, I support the bill, and I look forward to the repeal of the 1973 Act into a new modern law that would speak to the...
Thank you. I now recognize Honorable Nekundi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. The other day when I took the floor and the time was up, I dealt with Section 11 and Section 65, Honorable Deputy Speaker, with those proposals to do the amendment before the final passing of this bill, Honorable Deputy Speaker. I am doing that, and I continue to doing that in cognizance the fundamental importance of any law, that a law must be very clear, implying legal certainty is of paramount importance for any bill to be a good bill or a good law. It must be absolutely predictable in the context that individual citizens must exactly know the consequences of their actions if they are found outside the scope of the principles of that very important law. And I've dealt with that in terms of, insofar as Section 11 and 65 is concerned. Honorable Deputy Speaker, within the same spirit, today I have only one matter to add to this very, very important piece of legislation we are dealing with before I submit my support to this very important bill. The one I want to deal with, Comrade Deputy Speaker, is Section 64, subsection B, that deals with offenses in connection with patients who abscond. It says any person who incites any patient to abscond or entices, that I'm fine with it. But I think insofar as B is concerned, if it's not amended, it might find people wanting unknowingly, Comrade Minister. As such, I would suggest that therefore B, we do a minor but important insertion. I hope you are a senior member now, ne? You now know that when you come to the committee stage, you deal with matters that your proposals were made, and the minister comes with the proposed amendments. I think you know number now. Please, can you speak to Kakandorozu? in that, Honorable, yes, in that I'm saying, if you look at B, it says, any person who assists the patient in absconding or attempting to abscond from such place or who permits any patient to abscond, etc. Now, you will find, for example, Honorable Karonda, not this one, Karonda, he is in the place of confinement at the hospital where he's kept. But you know each other. But that moment you find him, this man, look, it's fine. You might not even know that this person is disturbed. Now, he will then ask you, Veiko, can you give me a lift to Karutura? So I will assist him to go to Karutura, unknowingly that he is absconding. So therefore, it's paramount important that that section must then read, knowingly assist the patient in absconding. That word is very much important for legal appreciation. Knowingly, the first one is clear because you entice. You can only entice knowingly that you are doing it knowingly, you're enticing. But for this big on my Deputy Speaker, I just move that the Honorable Minister consider, when you come to the committee stage, to bring this amendment so that it reads, knowingly assist the patient in absconding. That brings, what is point of order? What did I do wrong? Point of order is when a rule is violated.
Yeah. Yes, let me hear the point of order.
Yes, I rise as a senior member of this House. Honorable Deputy Speaker, what we are doing in this House is not correct. And it is happening while you, as presiding officer, are just sitting there and watching. Honorable Nekundi is very well aware where we are in terms of the debate. We are not dealing with amending provisions or, in fact, even debating provisions of the bill. Second reading is general debate. He is an experienced member of this House. Why is he forcing us, Honorable Deputy Speaker, to now begin to look at provisions and even propose sections and so forth while we are not there? There's a reason why there's a third reading and a committee stage where we are allowed to make proposals for the amendment of this bill.
Okay.
No, really. Let's also respect the House, man.
No, Honorable Member.
It's not correct.
Honorable Member, I want to draw. You see, when you draw the attention of the presiding officer, it's only when any of these rules and orders are alleged to be infringed. Now, on a general debate, the one make a reference of what he thinks is generally to be, because it's what he thinks, it's not what that is subjected to the minister to consider. Exactly. And therefore it defines, no, Honorable Ngari, if you bring it to the attention of the presiding officer which rule is infringed, if you say under general second reading, can you listen to me the way I've listened to you? Are you done? Now you have the floor. Honorable Ina, you can also not, you can't just be the one who questions the abuse, but you constantly abuse. There is nothing wrong with what Honorable Nekundi is doing. Yeah, he's just giving proposals. Next time you can take and do your proposals. This is a general debate. Yes, Honorable Nekundi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. That being suggested in context of our engagement on the floor, I therefore really have of a serious feelings, opinions, that this very important bill on this floor is very important. And I believe thousands of Namibians have been waiting for this piece of legislation. Very much important. It is going to assist our people, and also those that are required this piece of legislation to be enforced. As such, Honorable Deputy Speaker, this I would like to sincerely support this very important bill, and looking forward to its full enactment, to be enacted very fast, and full implementation therefore. Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Thank you. I now recognize Honorable Tayele.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker, honorable members. I stand before you today to express my unconditional support towards this very crucial mental health bill. The introduction of this piece of legislation arrives at a moment of unprecedented urgency as it aims to tackle the pressing emotional and mental health needs of our citizens. This is also at the right time that all OMAS has recognized the importance of mental health issues and redoubled efforts within their employee wellness programs while anticipating for this important review. The thanks goes to Right Honorable Prime Minister for taking the lead when it comes to OMAS, and equally this August House that we are sitting in. The reality is that the magnitude of mental health issues within our society has escalated to epidemic proportions. According to the World Health Organization, an alarming 1 in 4 individuals globally will experience a mental health issue at some point in their lives. The statistics is not just a number. It underscores our collective responsibility to enact timely and effective mental health interventions. The Diagnostic and Statistical Manual and Mental Disorders, 5th edition, serves as an invaluable resource, classifying over 300 mental disorders and providing healthcare professionals with standardized criteria for diagnosis and treatment. This framework is essential for deepening our understanding of mental health challenges and guaranteeing that individuals receive the appropriate care they deserve. Despite the promising advancements represented by this mental health bill, we must confront the significant infrastructural and systematic challenges that prevail in Namibia. And one of most pressing issues we face is the dire state of our mental health infrastructure and mental health friendly facilities, as it was stated and alluded to by the previous speakers. It remains, in fact, in many rural areas where the need is most serious, there is a lack of mental health facilities staffed with qualified psychiatrists and psychologists. Currently, our country counts a mere 28 registered psychologists, of whom only 10 are practicing independently, according to the Psychological Association of Namibia. We have just 1 psychiatrist in Oshakati, another in Swakopmund, and remaining practitioners stationed in Windhoek. We have only 1 psychiatrist at the Windhoek Central Mental Health Hospital, rotating between Katutura and Central Hospital. This inequity in access to mental health professionals is unacceptable, and that calls for urgent attention from us as lawmakers. Furthermore, the absence of ambulances or vehicles in Windhoek Central Mental Health Hospital presents a significant barrier to treatment. This issue creates a chilling effect where individuals are hesitant to share transportation with patients traveling to or from mental health facilities due to the phobia, stigma surrounding the patient's mental conditions. Such circumstances not only restrict access to critical care, but also reinforce the damaging perception of mental health that prevails in our society. when we are speaking very important issues, some honorable members are leaving the house.
No, honorable member, just stick
Additionally, it is imperative to recognize that many health facilities lack the essential resources and trained personnel to provide adequate care for those suffering from mental health challenges. The limited funding allocated to mental health facilities amplifies this crisis. Currently, expenditures on mental health make up a mere fraction of a national health budget, often falling below the recommended minimum of 5%. The shortcomings of mental health outreach programs, particularly for our rural communities, further exacerbate this issue. We must also acknowledge the absence of comprehensive workplace mental health programs across both public and private sectors, which limits our ability to ensure the employees are cared for and supported. To address these challenges, as lawmakers, we must prioritize the promotion of dignity and rights within mental health care. It is our duty to ensure that treatment approaches are patient-centered and that all individuals feel safe and supported when seeking help. Community integration and education, on the other hand, are critical tools in dismantling the stigma that too often accompanies mental health challenges. As we support the mental health bill, let us commit to a holistic approach that not only enshrines the rights of individuals, but also raises awareness and directly addresses the mental health friendly facilities and funding shortfalls that plague our mental health system. By prioritizing mental health in our national policies and budgets, we take a significant step towards a society where every individual is treated with respect, care, and support they need to achieve mental well-being. Therefore, Honorable Deputy Speaker, I fully support this bill with the belief that mental health is an issue that impacts each one of us, whether in this house, as we are sometimes going rival, bipolar, as we are all candidates of mental health, as we are sitting in this house. So elsewhere, silently, unexpectedly, and it is always waiting just to be triggered. And then you will react like some honorable members are doing in this house. I so submit and I support the bill.
Thank you. I now recognize Honorable Lutohesi.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, honorable members, this bill is deeply personal to me. I have lost two cousins, both breadwinners in their families, to suicide. Though more than 5 years have passed, the pain remains. Every suicide reported in this country reopens that wound, reminding me and so many others of lives lost too soon, of families left broken, and of the silence that still surrounds mental illness in our communities. Mental illness does not only lead to suicide, it can also manifest into violence, with some patients turning on their own caregivers, sometimes with fatal consequences. These are not isolated incidents. These are symptoms of a system that continues to fail both patients and their families. We are today debating a mental health bill that seeks to modernize our outdated laws to bring them in line with our Constitution, our human rights obligations, and the lived reality of thousands of Namibians. The bill reflects noble principles, a shift toward community-based care, protection.
Yeah. Oh. Honorable Member Kambala, just sit there. She will finish now. It's just courtesy.
Protection of patient rights, regulation of involuntary treatment, and alignment with the international conventions. But I rise not only to commend those intentions, I rise to issue a challenge. Because a progressive law without the infrastructure and resources to implement it becomes yet another broken promise. Honorable members, we are in a mental health crisis. In the past financial year alone, more than 91,000 Namibians sought mental health care in public facilities. Over 11,000 were admitted often into facilities that are overcrowded, understaffed, and in many cases, dehumanizing. Today, as we all know, the only dedicated public psychiatric hospital in the country is the Windhoek Central Hospital Psychiatric Ward, with roughly 220 beds. At Oshakati, Ward 16 is constantly overcrowded, reportedly housing more than 200 patients in a ward designed for 6 patients. Most regions lack even a basic psychiatric ward, let alone outpatient services or rehabilitative care. The bill speaks of access, but access cannot exist where facilities are not. Rights cannot be realized where care is absent. This is not a legal gap. It is a legacy of neglect. We also have a human resource crisis. The ministry's own figures says Namibia have fewer than 5 psychiatrists working in the public sector. That is not enough to cover Windhoek, let alone all 14 regions. We lack psychiatric nurses, psychologists, occupational therapists, and trained social workers. So I ask, what is the plan to deploy mental health specialists across all the regional hospitals? What is the timeline for placing psychiatric nurses and social workers in every district hospital? What incentives are in place to attract and retain mental health professionals in rural areas? A government that acknowledges a skills shortage has a duty to fix it. Where is the national training strategy? Where are the scholarships for psychiatrists and psychology students? Where are the partnerships with universities and both for local and international? Unless we invest in people, in training, in incentives, and in retention, the promises in this bill will remain just that, promises. Honorable Speaker, one critical issue that this bill must also confront is the severe shortage of psychiatric medication in public health facilities. It is not uncommon for patients to go without prescribed medication for weeks, sometimes months, due to stockouts. For many, these medications are essential for daily functions and for avoiding relapse and hospitalization. Without guaranteed access to essential mental health medicines, this bill's commitment to treatment and care rings hollow. The right to health includes the right to access to medication, and mental health must be no exception. Honorable Deputy Speaker, one group is also noticeably absent from this bill, yet they carry some of the heaviest burdens. These are the caregivers. Families looking after loved ones who have mental challenge do so with no formal training, no compensation, and often no support. They experience burnout, stigma, and emotional strain, all while trying to navigate a fragmented system. If we are serious about community-based care, then we must recognize caregivers as part of the care system, offer them psychological support and counseling, provide access to respite services, and consider financial support where appropriate. We cannot continue to place the weight of a broken system on the backs of unpaid, unsupported families. Honorable members, we in the opposition are not here to shoot down good policy. We are here to ensure that good policy does not end at legislation. We are here to demand that it be followed by real action. This bill must be accompanied by a costed implementation plan, a clear rollout of services across all 14 regions, a human resource strategy, a national medication supply plan, and a regular reporting back to this House. Because passing a bill without a path to execution is a disservice to the people it is meant to serve. In conclusion, just in the past weekend, 5 more Namibians died by suicide. That is 5 more families in mourning, 5 more lives gone too soon. That is not a statistic, that is a national emergency. We cannot regulate our way through a crisis. we need investment, planning, and accountability. And so, yes, let us pass the bill. But let us do so with our tick box exercise, but as a start of real, painful, essential work that must follow. If this government is serious about mental health, it must prove it in the budget, in the clinics, in the hospital, and in the lives of our people. May the soul
Evelyn.
of my departed cousins,
Hello, Evelyn.
Jerome and Rector, and all other victims of suicide, rest in peace.
Thank you. Okay, I think I've got 2 minutes. Maybe I must ponder on what Honorable Ina have said in relation to Rule 177, and we help guide each other. The rules are all of us. We might err in interpretation. But yeah, Rule 177, it says the heading scope of second reading. During the second reading stage, the principles, primary motivation, and main objective of the bill are discussed. The House must also consider the examination committee report or any other amendments recommended by the Select Committee, by the Standing or Select Committee to which the bill has been referred in terms of Rule 174. That one did not take place. At conclusion of the second reading debate, the member presenting the bill must reply to questions and concerns raised by other members during the debate. Now, help us or help me understand, what does it say? During the second reading stage, the principles, primary motivation, and main objective of the bill are discussed. Huh? She was right. So Honorable Nekundi was wrong. Okay. No, let's, you see, if she was right, then Honorable Nekundu was wrong. Isn't it? If she is not right, then Honorable Nekundu is right. But that's why I was saying, I draw to the attention of the wording. Eh? What does the wording say? No, let's just help each other, because going forward, it will set the basis of understanding. During second reading, it's not permissible, do we say it's not permissible to interrogate the amendments that should be contained in the bill? Is that the understanding of the wording? Honorable, I will just give two, but it's something we can ponder on and maybe talked about, but I just wanted to bring it now that I've come. Honorable Dr. Opindi. Yeah, you will postpone. I just wanted to clear this matter so that going forward at least I understand. Yes.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. The two honorable members are actually, both of them are not wrong. I'll just correct Honorable Ina a bit. Honorable Nekundi is not wrong to debate the specificity of the bill. He's not wrong during the second debate. Also, anyone who is debating this bill during the second reading can also generally debate the principles upon which the bill is basing on, including any other things that are not even articulated in the bill. Yes. So it goes without saying that Honorable Nekundi was not wrong to go into the specifics during the second reading. Anyone else is also not wrong to just debate the bill generally or objectively or strategically in that way, like what other honorable members like Shafudah and the rest, even Honorable Evelyn did. So there is absolutely no rule in our rule book that prevents him to be specific during the second reading of the bill. Thank you very much.
Okay, honorable members, I take note But I think it's a gray area, but I want to step down by saying the second reading will focus on the principle of the bill. And the moment you go to a specific section, you are stepping outside the general principle that needs to be adhered. That's why I said let's step down. Maybe we need to bring it back tomorrow. No. We need to bring it back tomorrow, please. Please, honorable members. I just brought it now that it has come to my attention, and I'm also having difficulty in interpreting and understanding, because there are two lines of thoughts, the specific and the general principle. But let's step down from it. I think it's something that needs further discussion so that we can get uniformity as to how we are going to understand and apply the rule. Thank you. PM. Oh, the House stands adjourned until tomorrow 2:30. The member, Mbundu, was next in line. I will just give him the floor so that he officially postpone, and then he can take the discussion tomorrow. Sorry for that.
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Due to time, I would like to postpone this debate till tomorrow.
Okay. Then the House adjourns on automatic adjournment.
To reach those targets, because last year around about this time you were indicating that we were at 50%, so we are 10% behind.
Yeah, but remember, collection is twofold, right? So if the economy is doing well, you can collect more, because tax is dependent on how much sales revenue that entities make. But if the economy is contracting, especially as the minister indicated that the mining industry is contracting, the diamond industry is contracting, so that is reducing the income that we were receiving from that industry. Remember, there's mining royalties, there's taxes that is generated through these industries. So if there is no activities in these industries, the revenue collection goes down. And then the second point is about administration. So, of course, NAMRA could improve, or perhaps doing their best to collect as much taxes as they can. But if the economy is not doing well, if the industries are not producing as much as they should, you cannot collect what is not there.
The economy needs to perform.
Yeah, the economy needs to perform. So we remain helpful, and also, especially if the government expenditure is behind. Government expenditure also generates taxes, right? Because you outsource to an entity to do this work. They also do pay taxes. They do pay employees that go and spend money into the economy, consumption through, and then taxes are collected through VAT and income tax and others. But if this is not there, or spending is behind, then collection will also be behind.
We saw also again in terms of a statement by Ericah Shafudah, is to indicate that the debt servicing has jumped now from 13.7 billion to 14.3 billion. There's an increment in terms of increasing of that, although we are seeing there is no additional commitment in terms of expenditure that we saw. It's just a realignment within the budget. Some might be wondering, if this is just a realignment, why then do we have an increase in debt service? It is maybe attributed to rising interest rates of where we are borrowing from, or what could be the cost?
It could be a number of things, like you said. You know, especially if you are servicing foreign debt, right? So currency fluctuations plays a role in that as well. So it also increases your interest. But to be honest, I didn't get the time to analyze why it is actually increased. But if debt servicing is increasing, you need to find that money to pay that debt servicing at some point. So government really needs to, something needs to happen in terms of revenue generation and collection. So perhaps I don't know how they're going to close the gap.
Balance. One thing again we are seeing is the fact that government to debt to GDP has reached 176.3 billion as effective as the end of September 2025. We saw that we recently redeemed, of course, that's a Euro bond to 13.5 billion. What do you make of this increment that is to 176 billion? in terms of debt?
We are borrowing more than we are producing. So we need to stimulate economic growth so that we can actually keep up with this debt. So, like I said, something drastic needs to happen to turn around this economy so that it can start growing and stimulating. So it needs to be stimulated. So, yeah.
Now, on a positive note, we did see that the minister indicating taking review of what has happened in the short time between March and now, is to say that 63 boreholes have been installed across the various regions, indicating that there was a construction of earth dams, one each in Angwena, Shikoto, Umsati, Karas region, and two in Kavango East and Kavango West were completed towards the current financial year. Again, also talking about the upgrade of much needed renovations and commitments to the health sector. The President has re-emphasized this. We're seeing that this issue of the referral hospital of Nanjokwe is receiving some attention, and we understand that the upgrade is at 85% complete. How important is investment in health facilities?
I mean, health facility is very important. As a nation, you need to be able to have access to proper health care, right? Because a healthy nation is very productive. If most of our people are sick and they do not have access to health, it increases mortality rate. But if you also have employees who are consistently sick, they're not able to produce. If you're not able to produce, you're not able to contribute to economic growth. You need a healthy nation.
You need a healthy nation, indeed.
Yeah.
Now, getting down towards the end, as the minister was on their way to finalize a statement, is to indicate those allocations, those realignments that have been made in the budget, indicating that, she also indicated that they are projecting to realize a shortfall in terms of revenues. Again, perhaps goes back to what you're saying, that is 3.2 billion in the 2025-2026 financial year. Already not doing so well in terms of revenue collection, the decline of 3.2 billion that we are expecting. We know the issues with SACU, synthetic diamonds, and the diamond issues that are going on right now. How bad is this decline of 3.2 billion? How does it affect government budgeting?
Well, it just increases our deficit. And then that's either going to lead us to borrow more money or, borrow more money actually through either international markets or issue more treasury bonds or any other means. And we need to be able to fund our own budget. At least we need to reduce the deficit that we have on our budget. So, like I said, there's drastic measures that needs to happen in terms of government spending, as government spending is already behind. So that needs to kind of catch up so that it also stimulates economic growth and also generate more money through collections, but also in terms of we need to stimulate the economy because we need to have more economic activities to generate more revenue. Correct. Alternatively, I think we'll have a problem at our hands.
Now, as we begin to round up, it's worth knowing and also showing with our viewers that besides the decline of 3.2 billion expected in terms of revenue, the minister did indicate that 826.4 million has been identified for reallocation with potential realized savings from vacant position in OMAS at the tune of 378. 814 million is going to sports, with 663 is to cater for registration and school fees for the first quarter of tertiary education for the year 2026, with that pledge that was made by the President during a maiden State of the Nation address, where she indicated that tertiary education next year will be subsidized and basically free, and also, however, 151 million being catered for recruitment of 665 teachers. I think this is much welcome news. We know that there are over 8,000 unemployed teachers right now sitting at home, but I think this also presents much relief to the Namibian nation.
Yeah, I think that's really good because it reduces unemployment rate, right? Because the more people that are actually employed, they will also be able to invest back into the economy, be it improve their own livelihood, elevates poverty, but also they're also going to consume. They're going to spend this money.
Which is good for the economy.
It comes back into the cycle, back to the tax collections through NAMRA and others, but also if we're talking about improving service delivery as well, education is very important to Namibia, and we need to improve the quality of education that is offered into Namibia. But if you don't have resources to deliver that quality, then you have a problem. So if you increase capacity, that will help to deliver quality education. And at the same time, when you come back to Ministry of Health, there is always a lack of resources and capacity within the hospitals.
Talking about the Ministry of Health, I know we are running out of time. That is a total of 185 million was added to the Ministry of Health. That is for the recruitment of 1,337 personnel. We know recently government indicated that they are freezing all positions with the exception of the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Health. Again, 1,537 jobs means so much for an economy like Namibia.
It means a lot, and if we are aiming to actually access more public health care, meaning the hospitals will be flooded if more people go to public hospitals. So you must be able to attend to these patients. So increasing capacity in terms of resources that is available to cater to these people, but also reducing the time that people spend at other hospitals. You find stories where people die while they are waiting to be catered for. This will improve service delivery at the hospitals and healthcare.
Service delivery. Well, Lakia Shafudah, I wish we had more time to continue discussion, but thank you so much for making time to speak to us this morning and throughout the day, pardon me, and also ensuring that you try and break it down for us. As we know very well, in the next coming days, we'll also hear what this breakdown in terms of this additional reallocation means for the national fiscus. But thank you so much for making time to speak to us.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here.
Now, that also wraps our conversation that we had with Lakia Shafudah, who is a senior tax manager at Deloitte Namibia, taking an opportunity to take us through the breakdown of that budget. What we can inform you in terms of the financial year 2025 Appropriation Amendment Bill provides for reallocation of 1.2 billion Namibian dollars. That's 814 million to the Ministry of Education, Innovation, Youth, Sports and Culture. That is 663 million towards registration fees and tuition fees for the first quarter of especially the subsidized tertiary education. That is 151 million. That's also for the recruitment of 665 teachers, and another total of 185 million to the Ministry of Health and Social Services for the recruitment of 1,337 health personnel, and an amount of 61 million availed to the Ministry of Finance contingency provision, an additional 50 million to the Presidency, an additional 50 million to the Office of the Prime Minister for Disaster Risk Management, an amount of 30 million to the Electoral Commission of Namibia due to the budget shortfall caused by the by-elections, and then National Assembly receives 15 million for a shortfall of personal expenditure and parliamentary oversight, and 30 million for members of parliament, that is office accommodation. So those were the reallocation that we're seeing. However, the minister concluded saying that the Appropriation Amendment Bill for 2025-2026 remains unchanged at 89.4 billion. That also wraps up the discussion that we had for you today. We do know that Parliament will have more discussions tomorrow concerning this amendment bill that was shared by the Minister of Finance. However, from myself, Lonta Manmata, and the entire team here at Parliament, it is good evening and goodbye. And we now cross over to the NBC, where Nina is on standby with a daily roundup.
This is NBC.